6:02, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The San Francisco 49ers get a big fourth down stop in overtime and upset the Rams on Thursday Night Football last night, 26-23. Mac Jones started in place of Brock Purdy for the 49ers and proceeded to throw for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kendrick Bourne had 10 catches for 142 yards. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford threw for 389 yards and 3 touchdowns, but it proved to not be enough. The Titans are headed out west to Phoenix in search for their first win of the season as they face the 2-2 Arizona Cardinals. In Thursday's injury report, J.C. Latham with his hip injury and Calvin Ridley with the knee and elbow injury did not practice. Again, Brian Callahan will meet with the media later today and give the final injury report ahead of Sunday's matchup. You can catch the Lee Company Countdown to kickoff at 12 o'clock before Titans Countdown begins at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Taylor Zarza, Coach Dave McGinnis take over for Titans and Cardinals kickoff at 3:05. Of course, all that is right here on 104.5 The Zone. Nashville Soccer Club has a short turnaround after winning the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday. They're in Canada to face CF Montreal as MLS play resumes with 2 matches remaining in the season. First kick tomorrow at 1:30. Coverage begins on The Zone at 1 o'clock. And a big SEC showdown tomorrow in Tuscaloosa as Diego Pavia and number 16 Vanderbilt travel to Tuscaloosa for a battle with Ty Simpson and number 10 Alabama. Kickoff is at 2:30 on ABC. For all your foundation repair and waterproof needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the final show of the week. Happy Friday, wherever you are listening in beautiful Music City, USA, or around the world. This is Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned Scooters location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. He is the executive producer of Titans Radio, Rhett Bryan. Filling in for Ramon Foster again this morning. Justin Hawkins makes the show happen. I'm Will Boulding. 615-737-1045. The number live for the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. Titans and Cardinals preview for you this morning. We take a look at NFL Week 5 and the most interesting games. Brent Hubs at 7:20 and Ron Slay in Hour 4.
Ooh,
Rhett,
no roof in Hour 4.
Morning. How we doing?
As the late, great possum George Jones would say, it's finally Friday.
Sure is.
I'm free
Absolutely
again.
right.
Got my motor running for a wild weekend.
It's well done by you. Very well done by you. Yes, it is.
We're going to act like it. It's
always
Friday.
easier to wake up on a Friday morning and come to work early, even if you're sleep deprived, if you had a good week, if you had a bad week. We all make it to the very end of the week together in unison.
And this is listen, any Friday in this window of the year.
That's correct.
I mean, you got high school football, you got college tomorrow, pros on Sunday. It's just the perfect trifecta.
It is perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So looking forward.
That would make it the trifecta, Red.
Sorry,
I'm speaking in third person now. I'm really off the rails.
We've got Brent Hubs at 7:20. We've got Tate Matthews, as always, at 9 o'clock, previewing the high school football slate. And we have, of course, Ron Slay, as we mentioned. I had a first last night, Rhett Bryan. Something I have never done in broadcasting before, and hopefully we'll never
have a scotch during the broadcast?
Well, no, this was not a good thing. This is hopefully something I will never have happen again.
Oh, okay.
So,
do tell.
First of all, the day was a little bit interesting. Going to Knoxville to call Tennessee soccer. Tennessee beating Georgia. In fact, a Ravenwood Raptor, Allie Brown, scoring one of the goals. So shout out, Middle Tennessee. And I get up there after there was a car fire, first of all, about 30 miles from campus. I sat in no movement for about 30 minutes on I-40. Just did not move an inch. And I'm texting my crew of like, hey, guys, I have no idea how long it's going to take to clear this. I know I see a big billow of smoke up in front of me. My analyst is like, am I going to have to do play-by-play? Like, no, I think it'll be all right. I just might miss the meetings with coaches. I ended up being there actually pretty much right on time. So that was not the bad part. But I get there, and typically for these broadcasts, they only shoot pretty much waist up. So you could either go a suit, You can wear just a blazer and tie and khakis or navy pants. Maybe people think that it's a suit and all these things. And I was like, you know what? This is a big game, top 20 matchup. One I might want to use for my reel. I'm going to wear my suit. I've not worn my suit since I went to a wedding in May. And when I tell you there is a rip along the back of these suit pants that is so large that I would not have even close to put them on. And I realize that as I'm putting them on in the press box, because I change clothes as I get there. Mm-hmm. And so going down to meet coaches last night and talk about Tennessee and Georgia, I am walking around exposed, to say the least, and covering up my backside with all of my notes. Usually this
was it
happens
right down the seat of your pants?
It was in my undercarriage, if you will.
Wow.
It was able to be hidden, but it is something that I hopefully will never have to hide.
Well, you were air conditioned in case it was warm in Knoxville.
It was not ideal.
If there is a Taylor, the number is 615-737-1045.
Yes, and not Swift, because she came out with a new album today. Just to Taylor.
And by the way, Zarzar either. He's good at play-by-play. I don't know how he is at seamstress type things.
Yeah, it was not great. It was not great. So Tori, my analyst, who's great, she was like, you want to go down and talk to the coaches? I was reluctantly, sure. And just walked with my hands behind my back and my notes covering myself the entire time. But it worked out. As far as I know, at least. No one has
let me say this.
Admonished me for this.
This is an old television thing, and it's really funny. So this, as you're telling me this, I'm thinking about years ago, and I mean years ago, here in Nashville, the great Chris Clark, News Channel 5.
Yep.
They have him downtown reporting on, I can't remember if it's a political cycle and it's an election deal or but it's hot weather. And it might have been a primary, might have been just a piece on something happening downtown. And his cameraman accidentally pulls it out of the tight shot.
Yep.
And from the waist up, he's got on a button-down shirt, tie, coat, the whole deal. He's got his running shorts and running shoes on.
Yep.
From the waist down, and it was one of those behind the curtain moments. You're like, oh, that's what happened.
Which is so much more common too. Well, maybe actually it's not as common anymore too, because I feel like there are more full, screen shots where they don't just sit at the desk anymore.
70s, 80s, maybe early 90s television thing. But
that was very common to just have someone at an anchor desk with.
Well, if they shot it that way, why not be comfortable?
Exactly. So I scared myself substantially, and I was leaning over to tie my shoes, and I was like, I'm going to really slowly lean down. I'm not going to make this worse. We don't need a total split on the backside, because then I just wouldn't have been able to do it.
Let me say this. A rip is better than soiling yourself.
Well, that's also true.
That's the only way. You have to have perspective.
Should have just taken your shoe off and then tied it and then put it back on.
I mean, that's a plan.
What do you,
Take your shoe off, tie the shoe.
What do you mean?
He said, huh?
Well, I don't want to hurt my shoe. I had to untie it to I don't know. It was fine.
You say hurt your shoe?
By putting it on with it tied? Well, no, you damage the back of your shoe if you put it on too many times while it's tied. Plus, these kinds of shoes, actually, you can't.
One time.
You've got to
would hurt it.
No, I mean, plus these are the type too that it's hard to open the tongue and put your foot in it.
Hey, Will.
Yeah.
Are you the kind of guy that saves your gas receipts from the gas?
No, I mean, definitely not. But I had to do that last night too and did not save it. But. No,
it's sorry. I'm being mean this morning.
No, it's all right. It's Friday and we're acting.
Hurt your shoe.
Hurt its feelings.
Well, I'll tell you this.
I don't want to be stepped in.
You live to tell about it.
That's right.
And that's why it's funny.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I totally understand why that would make someone uncomfortable.
Because I don't, when I have to wear TV clothes to go do stuff like that in Knoxville, I change when I get there.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, if there's
that way your stuff's not wrinkled,
right?
And
I'm
seat belt on,
wearing it for 3 hours,
right?
And so then,
so do we have the mystery of why we got the rip in the pants?
Oh, I have no idea. I probably just danced too badly on a dance floor or something at a wedding, and just busted a move a little bit too hard. And
do we have video evidence?
Yeah, that's what we need.
Of the pants?
No,
of your dance.
Oh, yeah.
We need to find this.
No, luckily, nothing has videoed me dancing in quite some time.
Peyton was there, wasn't she?
Well, yeah, at this wedding back in May, but we're talking 5 months ago.
You know what I thought you were going to say, though? I thought you were going to say like I hadn't worn the suit in a while, and it wouldn't fit.
That would have been awful, but this is a pretty new
I would have been
suit.
surprised at that because you're a tall, slender guy. I was like, really?
Because my old suit, that did happen, and I just busted through it. I actually kind of ripped those pants, too. I'm 2 for 2 on ripping suit
Did
pants.
the Incredible Hulk deal on it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, Hulk smash.
Exactly. So, anyway.
Okay.
I've had a lot of firsts as a broadcaster this year. First NFL broadcasts, first time in Nissan Stadium, and first
time a soccer match in the
broadcasting
SEC.
with ripped, exposed suit pants last night in the Southeastern Conference.
He said, I said, what was it, the seat? He goes, the undercarriage.
Yes. It was not, I could stand with my legs together and nobody would see
the
it.
late,
Very
the
carefully.
late, great Jerry Clower would say, God, he was funny. He goes, right there in the stride.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, absolutely right. 615-737-1045. Coming up this morning, we will talk a lot about Titans and Cardinals. Take a look at the Titans' pathway to getting their first win in Phoenix. And we'll start by giving you the injury report and notes from practice yesterday as we begin. Plus, 3 very interesting NFL Week 5 games that we will begin with this morning on this Friday edition. Coming up next. Friday morning, Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooter's Coffee, here on 104.5 The Zone and 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Rhett Bryan in for Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins. Scooter's Coffee had me fueled yesterday on my drive to Knoxville. A medium pumpkin caramelicious hot latte. Convinced me it was fall, even though it's 85 degrees outside the afternoons right now. And then a maple waffle breakfast sandwich. It's a sausage, egg, and cheese on two little maple kissed with syrup waffle bits. Just a little crispy in the oven. Absolutely fantastic. It was the only thing I ate until like 9 p.m. yesterday. So I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It was very good. Very good. Scooters fuels us every day. We love and appreciate our title sponsors here on the show. Yesterday, injury report from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park is lengthy, unfortunately. Let's start with the bad news. Calvin Ridley did not practice for the second straight day with a knee and elbow designation. Right tackle J.C. Latham did not practice. Blake Hance did not practice. Receiver and gunner Bryce Oliver did not practice, and safety Mike Brown as well. Let's stop there for a minute, Rhett, because I think the negative is Bryce Oliver would be the like-for-like replacement for Calvin Ridley in terms of roles within this offense and the types of receiver positions that Brian Callahan has. And there may need to be somebody who steps up who has not really been relied upon yet in the wide receiver room on Sunday in Arizona.
Well, and here's the other part. I mean, Bryce Oliver's trending to miss his third straight game?
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that knee. That's troubling a little bit. Makes you wonder, if Calvin can't go, do they elevate James Prochet to help with? But that's not the same body. I know what you're saying. This is an opportunity for Van Jefferson's what it is.
I think you're right. It's either Van Jefferson or it's move Tyler Lockett outside and have Chimere DK step up more in the slot as well. Because Lockett is the type of guy and type of player that can play all of those positions, and so is Van Jefferson, to be fair. But that's probably right, though. It would probably be Van Jefferson.
I'm just looking at the what's sitting there. So
yeah, I mean, could this be a Xavier Restrepo opportunity? We are, as I say that, it's mentioned in the F&M Bank chat on YouTube.
I mean, anything's possible. I would think if you're going that route, it'd be James Prochet before it would be Xavier Restrepo, just because of the experience. You've got to have some experience. You do. Because you take Calvin Ridley out of that, and the overall age of that group goes down a notch, even though you still have Tyler Lockett in there. But anyway, I saw that myself. And, of course, the elbow thing, that's clearly, I guess, what he was working through Sunday in Houston.
It was. He had a black sleeve on one of his arms, so I'm not obviously sure which elbow it was. If it's just an elbow designation, obviously they don't have to tell us which one it is, because he kind of had stuff going on with both of them down there on the sideline, because he went in the tent and then came out with players when they play on artificial turf have the tape on the back of their arms to avoid
go
just
all the way
burn
down to their wrist almost. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
To avoid the burn of the turf. He had one of those it was almost like a little bit smaller, that was just over his elbow, like a white pad that I think he just got pretty nicked up. And you could see him on the sideline talking with players, like showing his forearms and elbows. And he was actually talking with Tajay Spears, the one being, because Tajay always wears the tape on the back of his arms. He has since college at Tulane. And you can see the two of them talking about, like, man, this turf is bothering me. So I don't think the elbow, if it is the one that they just kind of, I don't know if they stitched it up or just put a pad on it. If it's that one, I don't think that's as big of a concern maybe as the knee, whatever the knee thing is going on. But if it's the one with the black sleeve on, then maybe that was something he had in practice.
Maybe.
That could be a different conversation.
And you know what's
I have no idea.
Interesting you say about that, because I was just thinking about back in my day, the old days. I can't tell you how many times I went into the locker room after a Titans win, because there was a lot of them back in the early days, and seeing Eddie and what he looked like.
Oh, yeah.
After running at Three Rivers for Pittsburgh or running in Cincinnati in that old stadium. those places, that cookie cutter stuff we talked about yesterday with the old style stadiums. He looked like he'd been in a fight with a wildcat. Like he was skin up from head to toe. I mean, it looked like he was fighting a bear or something.
It's crazy. And that's just like surface wounds. That's stuff
that's not
that you or
we're not
I
talking about bruises or right. I mean, it just looked like he'd been through it.
Regular people, that would hurt us. and we would be slowed down from doing our jobs, and these are not regular people, obviously.
Correct.
These are NFL football players. So thought that was interesting and something to monitor. And Calvin's played enough football that maybe this is one of those situations where you just get him to game day or get him to Friday, and he may be limited today and is able to go. We'll see. We'll find out today when we get that initial designation. James Lynch was limited with a shoulder.
Mm-hmm. I think he has been all week, hasn't he?
Yes. Kevin Winston Jr. still limited with that hamstring. Boy, I'd love to get him back. Because I think that you talk about missed tackles and this team having trouble getting guys to the ground in the box, especially in the second half.
That's his game. That's what he does.
And that's a big reason why they drafted him when they did.
Yes.
It was one of the more underrated, lesser discussed needs that this team had was for a in-the-box safety. And that's their in-the-box safety, and haven't been able to benefit from that.
How about a big
yet.
Safety, too? Mm-hmm. I mean, he is a big, long dude. But, yeah. Fingers crossed on that he is getting closer and closer to his official debut.
And then Kevin Zeitler, limited foot designation for him. So I guess the bicep, no longer an issue, but now a foot. Would expect him to play considering the age and experience there. And Tajay Spears, limited for the second day in a row, working his way back. We'll see.
Is the Deuce ready to make his 2025 season debut?
I hope so.
I sure do.
I think he is
we talk about
big addition.
We talked about where they are right now at 0-4, and you hear the head coach, you hear the coordinators, you even hear players saying nobody's coming to save us. That could be something that could certainly help that running back room and help the offense.
Absolutely.
So.
And then the normal housekeeping stuff of Jeffrey Simmons and Tony Pollard who were rested on Wednesday.
Maintenance days.
Back at it on Thursday. Let's go to the phones. Micah is in Nolensville, waking up with us early this morning. What's up, Micah?
Hey, guys. Thank you for taking my call. I had a quick question for you guys and then kind of my thoughts on it. I feel like Brian Callahan is kind of losing his fan base a little bit. And I think he really needs to win it back through this 3-game stretch. And I think this is his kind of like big stretch. We got Cardinals, Raiders, Patriots, and I think he needs to win at least 2 of these at this point. I mean, I think the bad coaching issues can stop, but I think at this point we just need to see improvement, or at least a little bit improvement as a franchise and as fans. We just want to see a couple wins and some improvement. And I think this needs to be a stretch where Brian Callahan steps up, get a win against the Cardinals, and then maybe a home win against the Patriots, something like that. But I want to get y'all's thoughts on that, and I wanted to see what y'all thought about that too.
Okay, Micah. Thanks for the call.
Thank you, Micah.
Well, Micah's point is valid. They need a win. They need that first and foremost.
They do.
And you have an opportunity against the Cardinals on Sunday, and we're going to later in the show talk about advantage, disadvantage, and look at those potential matchups. As it pertains to the NFL in Week 5, and I know we're going to discuss this, we're going to see a little more litmus test in Mike Vrabel's New England Patriots Sunday night, because it's a division battle in Buffalo at Highmark Stadium on Sunday Night Football. And we're going to see that's going to be a good litmus test for them, in all honesty.
It is, and I think as challenging as these next 3 games are, it's not to the level of Rams or Broncos or heck, even the Colts. I mean, you are in a phase of about 4 games that are gettable if you play your best football, and if
that's
an
been the
opponent
problem.
comes down to you.
You've got to play your best football,
exactly.
And that's where they have fallen short. But yeah, you're right. Listen, it's hard every week, Micah, and we appreciate the call. It is so hard to win in the NFL. And when you start talking about, well, you got a better chance. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, as evidenced by last night's Thursday night football game.
100%.
I mean, you still have to play the game, and you just never know what in the world's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the reporting out there is still preaching the same things as preseason, patience, and this is a process, and let's see how this offense grows, how Cam Ward gets more comfortable, and how Brian Callahan can help them through that process. But I certainly think there are opportunities starting on Sunday. In Arizona, we'll talk more about it at 8:20 when we dive into the matchup specifically. But Arizona's a tough team for me to know who they are because they've got 2 walk-off field goal losses for their only 2 losses, but also their 2 wins are not against exactly super impressive
And let's
teams.
take it a step further. When you start looking, you can look at all, and this is something Coach Mack preaches, and he's right. You can look at all the yardage differential stats you want, and you can find hidden yardage as why there was a win or a loss. 20.5 points a game. That's what they're averaging through 4 games.
Right.
And really at that average, they're lucky to be 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
Like you,
It's true.
You really need to be in that 27 points per game plus to be in the upper echelon. I mean, yes, you can get out-dueled by a team and, in a big shootout.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't think we fully know who this team is. And I think Cardinals fans are wanting that. Looking at their reactions when they lost last Thursday night before with the Cobra.
Yes.
they
Surrender
of course, that
Cobras
fan base
everywhere.
has been through a lot of stuff. But yeah, we're going to find out.
So this weekend, there are a couple of big ones, including one with an AFC South team we're going to break down. 3 most interesting games of the NFL weekend in Week 5. Now, Jacksonville and Kansas City would be at the top of this list for us here locally in the AFC South, but that's Monday, so we'll cross that bridge once we get to it on Monday. So of the weekend specifically, we've pinpointed 3 of these, Rhett, to dive into, starting with 2 1-3 teams who did not think they were going to be 1-3 at this point of the season. The Houston Texans going to Baltimore to face the walking wounded Ravens. I wanted to start, though, from the Houston perspective and C.J. Stroud, because it's well documented the offensive line issues there. Funny enough, he's actually been really good under pressure, according to a lot of the numbers. So C.J. Stroud has faced 34.5% pressure rate this season. That's actually only just above league average. Maybe it hasn't been quite as bad as what some of the sack numbers look like. The pressures overall, he's just, every time he's pressured, he's getting sacked, I think is the bigger issue for him. When under pressure, though, when he does get rid of the ball, C.J. Stroud has the second highest completion percentage in the NFL at 64.9%. But according to Next Gen Stats, he only has a 27% drop back success rate as well, at only 4.4 yards per attempt, 7th fewest. He is having to be very conservative, and they are taking away, defenses are, the explosive pass game to Nico Collins when he's pressured. He's completing a lot of passes when he's under pressure, but only for 4.4 yards per attempt. They got to figure out some way to make that offense more explosive.
Well, let's start with what we saw Sunday in Houston, because I've been thinking about this. Woody Marks had a breakout game in just game 4 of his rookie season. And that's, Nick Chubb, good runner, oft injured. You can tell that Father Time has been working on him, right?
Right.
And clearly they don't have Joe Mixon back. But Woody Marks, look at what he ended up adding to that offense when they separated the score for good. I think Woody Marks is probably one of the key cogs in getting this thing right. Now, that still points to the offensive line having to do some things to make some cushion room and lanes for him. But I think that's where they can start to get well.
I agree. So, interesting one
and
for
who
Houston.
They're running against.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking at we're going to go through the injury report for Baltimore in a second.
Yes.
That's going to take 30 minutes.
It's insane. Yeah, we'll get 2 hours. We'll get bridge the gap between hours 2 and 3 with the injury report. No, it is pretty crazy the amount of adversity they have already had to overcome. But you look at just the problems that Houston has, Rhett, and sometimes you can just kind of see it, right? Like, it's not just the offensive line. It's not just the quarterback and wide receivers. It's not just the run game until the fourth quarter when Woody Marks kind of broke out a little bit. It just doesn't look right, does it, with Houston? I mean, Nick Caley's new system hasn't totally clicked. CJ Stroud doesn't look comfortable. The fans are booing at the first sight of something going wrong. It's just the vibe is off with that football team.
Well, it looks a little disjointed, and I hate to keep slamming on the offensive line because Ramon would go, "Hey, man, easy on us, big fellas." But what does that look like if the offensive line is completely together, gelled, working as a 5-guy unit, that kind of thing? I'm not saying it's all their fault. It's not.
Right.
Like, there's some things that C.J. Stroud's doing, and then you point to the OC, Nick Caley, that still is kind of being fleshed out. But, it looks disjointed. It really does. And you can look at that by not just the sack numbers and the pressure numbers and the things you outlined with C.J. Stroud, but what the production numbers are from Nico Collins and some of those other guys.
Sure. Right.
Because Nico is one of the reasons why, he's a go-get-it dude. What's going to keep them in this game and probably get them into the win column, sans all of the laundry list of injuries with Baltimore, is that the pass rush and their defense. That's what's going to keep them in games till that offense hits its stride.
Right.
Whenever that is. And they are healthy on that side of the ball. Oh, gosh. I mean,
their defense.
51-55. And the thing is, we don't know, Lamar Jackson hasn't practiced.
I don't think he's playing. I think it's Cooper Rush at the controls for Baltimore.
I mean, I would say advantage Houston right there. Just because I would almost say advantage Houston even with Lamar Jackson in there.
I agree. I think it feels like one of those, old school Titans Derrick Henry games for Baltimore.
And the reason I say that, Ronnie Stanley's been banged up too.
I mean, everybody. We're going to look at it in a minute. They've got 9 Pro Bowlers who are currently injured.
That's wild.
I'm looking at it to say they have 9 Pro Bowlers.
So they're played that much. So here's the injury report I pulled up on NFL Pro. Kyle Van Noy, Brent Urban, Tyler Linderbaum, all full practice. Limited. Cornerback Nate Wiggins, who had an injury last week. Devontae Walker. Ronnie Stanley, the tackle. Adafe Owe, the linebacker. Emory Jones, another tackle, limited. Travis Jones, D-tackle, knee, limited. Did not practice. Chidobe Awuzie, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Ricard, and Roquan Smith. And certainly with Roquan Smith, that's why I said Woody Marks may be their pathway to success.
It feels like the old school Titans games where you just know Derrick Henry's going to have to carry it 30 times and carry your offense. And
that's wild to say that, Woody Marks would have to do, but Woody Marks provided a breath of fresh air.
Absolutely.
And again, Nick Chubb was doing a very serviceable job, and I think those two can work in tandem.
Right.
But as soon as that game was over, I thought Woody Marks is about to get a lot more opportunity.
Well, and he is a converted receiver. He was a receiver at first at USC and Mississippi State, or I think it was Mississippi State.
Yeah.
And then when he transferred to USC, made a full-time switch to running back during his career as well. So I think he was actually at Mississippi State that he started running a little bit more and then transferred over. But he started his career in college football as a wide receiver, and it shows in the way he can be used as a weapon in that phase of the offense.
Watched him pretty closely at the Senior Bowl. That was, he's one that would catch your eye when they would do drills and obviously in those practices.
It's kind of their Tajay Spears, really, in a lot of ways.
Yes.
But now he's kind of taken over as the lead guy because Nick Chubb is ancient.
But yeah, in fact, my daughter plays fantasy football. She's a senior in college. And that's the one thing. She's not crazy about sports, but that's the one thing we bond over sports-wise.
Nice.
And I said, hey, pick up Woody Marks. Nobody's got him. And so, anyway,
smart.
He's in my starting lineup as well.
I love it. Actually, I think mine too in one of my leagues. So smart. We're going to look at 2 other games when we come back. A couple of AFC matchups that are one AFC matchup, one NFC matchup that tell us a lot about pretenders and contenders in NFL Week 5 coming up next. Hey, what's going on? It's Will Bowling for my friends at Lead Company. Hey, you've heard me talk about how Lead Company makes life better for homeowners and facility managers, but did you know they do the same for their team? If you're looking for a rewarding career, Lead Company is hiring skilled tradespeople in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, sheet metal, and more. With 80 plus years of the business, Lead Company invests in its award-winning team with training, benefits, and real career growth. Plus, if you want to be a part of this team, you know you're being a part of the Middle Tennessee community as well, because Lead Company, they're out there everywhere. Yeah, you probably see their fleet of vehicles driving around. They've got over 1,100 vehicles in that fleet. But I love working with Lead Company because Lead Company is involved in our communities. Little League sports, high school sports, local events, sponsorships. They're also proud partners of the Tennessee Titans and Nashville Predators. If you want to get in on this, you can apply today at leadcompany.com/careers. That's leadcompany.com/careers. Lead Company, all you need. Friday morning on Ramon and Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee. Every morning on Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Tampa Bay goes to Seattle this weekend, Rhett Bryan, and I think this is a line in the sand game. One team's going to hop over it and be one loss heading into week 6. The other one will be a 2-loss team. One of those where it's just a big difference between being 4-1 and 3-2.
Hey, I'm looking at Tampa right this second. So 24 points per game, average, 124 on the ground, 211 through the air. They won 3 in a row, dropped 1 to the Eagles, 31-25. But just looking at that narrow, just how narrow the margin of victory is with a lot of these teams that are competing. Won by 3 in week 1, won by a point in week 2, won by 2 points in week 3, lost by 1 score in week 4. So, I mean, just looking at how that team is built and, you know, what they're doing. And then you knew Seattle had a chance to be, you know, because Sam Darnold was the big free agent get. They shipped out Geno Smith to the Vegas Raiders, who we'll see next week. And they're one of those. They dropped week 1, have won their last 3 in a row, averaging, well, here we go. There we go.
Seattle,
110 on the ground, 221 through the air, 27 points per game average.
The number 2 scoring offense in the National Football League to start the season.
How about that?
Sam Darnold also, it does not look like a one-hit wonder yet. Very early, obviously, but last season after throwing for 4,319 yards, 66% completion, 35 touchdowns, 12 picks. This year, he is 70 for 100. So even my math can do 70% completion. 905 yards, 5 touchdowns to 2 picks. And he's only been sacked 6 times as well in the first 4 games of the season. I think Seattle is proving they are legit. And I know a lot of people kind of side-eyed their handling of Geno Smith because the one thing you do when you have a quarterback who is competent in this league is give them
try
up.
to keep him. Yeah.
When they're not ancient.
Give
and
them
Sam Darnold at 28, yeah, I mean, anyone who listens to the show knows how much I wanted the Titans to be in the Sam sweepstakes before they landed on Cam Ward. And obviously, I'm very happy with Cam Ward. But Sam Darnold was not just a one-season wonder last year. He is a good quarterback.
And I'm looking at the health of the Seahawks right now. They're not really, their biggest injury is to cornerback Devon Witherspoon and to DeMarcus Lawrence for the most part. I didn't look at, let me go back and look at the Buccaneers and see where they are injury-wise.
While you're looking for that, I will give you this stat from
loaded with
Next Gen Stats. This was cool, I think, just about the way both these quarterbacks have had interesting pathways to their big contracts. So Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are the only quarterbacks on an active contract worth $100+ million in total value that have played on 4+ teams in their NFL career. So only active contract quarterbacks that are on $100 million total value deals that have played on 4+ NFL teams. They are also 2 of the 3 that have $100 million deals that have played on 3+ NFL teams. Can you name me the quarterback that has played on 3 NFL teams with a $100 million total value contract right now that they are playing on?
It's got to be Baker Mayfield.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Besides Baker and Darnold.
Besides Baker. Oh, you said that. Sorry.
There is a third one. In the NFC, there is a quarterback on a $100 million total value contract that has played for 3 teams in his NFL career.
I'm drawing a blank.
NFC South.
Okay. So you're talking Kirk Cousins.
Bingo. Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, the 3 quarterbacks of the NFL with $100 million total value contracts who have played on 3+ teams.
I'm going to tell you something right now, and I forgot about this just watching injuries. Bucky Irving is banged up.
That's right.
Big time. Like they talk like his foot injury may be multiple weeks type of deal.
So is that Rashad White that's got to then step up for them?
I would think so. And then Mike Evans has a hammy.
Right.
That's a problem.
Right.
That's a real problem. And golly, they've got a bunch of injuries.
They do. They're banged up. I mean, I guess any team that plays Philly is going to deal with
Bucky Irving and Mike Evans, that's a problem.
It is. No doubt. So I think that's a good one. Later window, that'll be going on while we are on the call for Titans and Cardinals on Sunday. But that's kind of a, are you legit or are you a team or are you a contending team in the NFC kind of game? And then on Sunday Night Football with snow-colored rivalry jerseys. Yes, I know snow doesn't have a color. That's
that actually was pretty cool, those Uties, though. I kind of like them.
I like them. Buffalo Bills hosting the New England Patriots. Games between Mike Vrabel's Titans and Josh Allen's Bills were always very fun.
Sure.
Including the Monday night game where Big Jeff stopped Josh Allen on a QB sneak to win on Monday Night Football.
Woohoo.
Or how about a Tuesday night football game where Josh Norman got stiff-armed into the earth of Nissan Stadium?
In the middle of COVID.
They're going to have to pull him out of the foundation of Nissan Stadium when they demolish it.
Okay.
This is an interesting one, Rhett, because it's the new-look Patriots' first game against Josh Allen and the Bills. And, again, it's kind of a determining game for them. Are you a legitimate team that can hang in the AFC East, or is Buffalo just going to totally run away with this thing already by Week 5?
Well, here's the thing, and looking at who they played, they've lost against the Raiders, lost against the Steelers, beat the Dolphins, beat the pants off of Carolina, hung 42 on them.
Yes.
So they're averaging 25 points per game, 101 on the ground, 235 through the air. I mean, look, Mike Vrabel has a quarterback. He has running backs. He has a left tackle in Will Camp. Like, he knows what he's working with. And, for everybody saying and having envy, well, Mike Vrabel left here. Anyway, the Patriots are about a year, maybe 2 years ahead of where the Titans are and coming out of the chasm, if you will. Mike Vrabel's defenses, we know what they do, but Buffalo, and I'll always make the mistake of saying this about the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo might actually be in their prime window now.
Which is crazy because we keep waiting on it to end with how much cap hell they've been in, but they keep finding a way to reshuffle the deck and pull out an ace.
And they're relatively healthy, too. Ed Oliver on the D-line and T.J. Sanders are the two bigger, and then Matt Milano's dinged up, but they're actually in pretty good shape. So 163 on the ground with James Cook and company, Ray Davis, 240 through the air, 33 points per game. Is that the number one scoring offense?
Yes.
It's got to be.
Mm-hmm. It is. And two of the best running offenses in the league as well in this game. Not running offenses. Second best running defense in New England against the number one running offense in Buffalo. So fun matchup there. 654 yards so far on the ground for the Buffalo Bills, who also struggled to stop the run as well. They're 31st against the run. They have allowed an explosive rush of 10-plus yards at the highest rate in the NFL this season. That's also saturated by the fact that they've played a guy named Derrick Henry already this year, but point still stands. They give up some big runs. Buffalo
you know how much I really liked Travion Henderson coming out of the draft.
Yes.
And New England has him, and Mike Vrabel's teams know how to run the football.
That's
for sure. But, I'm very intrigued by this, and I'm enjoying watching the Bills, knowing that's the last handful of games at Highmark Stadium, and I'll never have to go back to that place. It is, and I mean that in the fact of structurally, it's one of the last of the old cookie cutters.
Yeah.
It's about the same age as Arrowhead, and
which is also probably on the way out soon.
Yeah, but it's hard to navigate and to do things operationally in it because it's old. And that new place they got is going to be awesome.
With like the infrared lights as well that are supposed to like warm up.
Well, how about the whole deal? Did you see the design of
wind.
it where the wind actually comes through the building?
Yes.
To create basically a draft cap over the open area.
It's crazy.
But like they thought about a lot of engineering design things as it pertains to the weather elements, trying to keep the fans somewhat, climate controlled, but the tough edge of we live in Buffalo.
Yeah,
we're going to have a, because I remember when they announced we're going to have a open roof stadium. I'm like, again?
Yeah, I know. Right.
What the hell's wrong with you?
I know. Yeah, it's in a league that is.
But the technology in that It's amazing.
In a league that's trending heavily towards more indoor stadiums, they have gone against the grain.
You know what
I
else is
respect it.
amazing is new Nissan Stadium. I went to the pro shop. Man, that place, golly, I'm just wowed by it every time I see it. There's glass going up over the West Club and over on the South side.
It's hard to keep our powder dry on how exciting
It is hard. It is hard to do that.
That one's okay, though. We can be IEs on the stadium.
We can't be instant evaluators.
Cool.
That's right.
Very cool. 615-737-1045, 7 a.m. When we come back, a Thursday night football recap, a shocker last night in California. We'll talk about it next.
It is 7:02. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Happy Friday. I'm Justin Hawkins. The 49ers get a big fourth down stop in overtime and improve to 4-1 on the season as they upset the Los Angeles Rams last night, 26-23. Mac Jones started in place of quarterback Brock Purdy for the 49ers and proceeded to throw for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kendrick Bourne had 10 catches for 142 yards, and Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford threw for 389 yards and 3 touchdowns, but proved to not be enough. The Tennessee Titans are headed out west to Phoenix in search for their first win of the season as they face the 2-2 Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. In Thursday's injury report, J.C. Latham with his hip injury and Calvin Ridley with his knee and elbow injury did not practice yet again for the Titans. Brian Callahan will meet with the media later today and give the final injury report of the week. Sunday, you can catch the Lee Company countdown to kickoff at 12 o'clock before Titans countdown begins at 2 p.m. and Taylor Zarzour, Coach Dave McGinnis take over for Titans and Cardinals on Titans Radio kickoff at 3:05, all right here on 104.5 The Zone. Nashville Soccer Club with a short turnaround after winning the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday. They're in Canada to face CF Montreal as MLS play resumes with 2 matches remaining in the season. First kick tomorrow at 1:30 in the afternoon with coverage beginning on The Zone at 1 o'clock. And a big SEC showdown tomorrow in Tuscaloosa as Diego Pavia and the number 16 Vanderbilt Commodores take on Ty Simpson and the number 10 Alabama Crimson Tide. Kickoff at 2:30 on ABC. For all your foundation repair and waterproof needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. and hour 2, getting started on your Friday morning edition of Ramon and Will. We are fueled by Scooters Coffee, and Scooters Coffee is locally owned and ready to fuel you. If you head to Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet, you can scoot on down, get yourself a cinnamon roll. Look, let me be the first to invite you and to welcome you that Friday calories count half. Sometimes they just don't count at all. I'm declaring at most Friday calories count half today. So I give you permission to start your day with a cinnamon roll. Okay. You'll enjoy it. You won't regret it. You're going to thank me later.
You will not.
At Ramon and Will, where you can send your thanks later after you have had a Scooters Coffee cinnamon roll. He is Rhett Bryan filling in for Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins, our producer. 615-737-1045. No one in the NFL... Sorry, what were you going to say?
Can I address something in the chat?
Yeah, you may.
From the Teflon Don and here, John Gotti.
Go for it.
It's like, it's so wild to hear y'all talk about the Buffalo Bills when you thought their stuff was over. I own that. Like, there's this conversation about the salary cap's not real. Look, they've done a lot of moving parts, and they've kept this thing together, but they can't keep it forever. They'd better win it this year because as long as they have Josh Allen, great. But there's so many other moving parts to that stuff. But I would be the first to admit, I thought they would have fallen off by now. They seem to be hitting their stride.
They've also drafted so well.
They really have. That's a big, big part of it.
That is how you can cover up some of the salary cap gambles that you take.
And it's also, when you find your franchise quarterback, that has a lot to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But I own that.
Fair enough. Well, I was going to say no one in the NFL is immune from losing on any given Sunday, even against backups, because last night the San Francisco 49ers, with their home crowd with them, went into Los Angeles and beat the LA Rams 26-23 in overtime. Mac Jones looked like 342 and 2 touchdowns.
He looked like Mac Montana.
McCorkle.
Yes. McCorkle Jones looked like McCorkle Montana. Yeah, golly, man. 33 of 49, 342, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, passer rating 100.9. Kendrick Bourne, 10 catches on 11 targets, 142. They're playing with some pieces and parts. Now, didn't hurt that Christian McCaffrey actually is healthy in this.
Right.
22 hard carries for 57 yards, but 8 catches on 9 targets for 82 and a score. I'll tell you something else it looked like, and just watching, because filling in for Ramon, I watched the first half and then I went to bed.
Sure.
but just seeing the intensity and the speed with which they were playing, it looked like, you ever see that where there's just two teams going at each other and one team looks like they're maybe a little bit almost like in fast forward mode?
Yeah.
That's what the Niners looked like to me. They moved down the field on their first drive like it was nothing. They were affecting the football, making turnovers. I was impressed.
I watched a Chip Kelly Oregon team come to Neyland Stadium and pants Tennessee when I was in, I think, middle school. Yeah, it's kind of like that. The Rams in this game just could not get out of their own way. The blocked extra point that would have allowed them to kick a game-winning field goal instead of a game-tying field goal at the end of the game. Kyron Williams fumbling on the 1 yard line to get in here, and the Rams were the 49ers were out of timeouts. I mean, this game was over.
And that was Kyron Williams' one blemish.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he had a great 14 for 65, had a 20-yard explosive run as his longest run, but 8 catches on 10 targets, 66 yards, 2 scores.
I mean, he's doing everything for that offense right now.
Let me tell you what else is as sure as death and taxes as Puka Nacua.
Yes.
He had over 3,000 yards receiving in his first 33 games. They flashed that stat up in the first half.
It's insane.
I forget where he ranks. He might be the fastest to that number, but
I think he's your offensive
golly.
player of the year in the NFL if he continues this.
Good grief.
I mean, he's
good.
almost putting himself in MVP discussion this year for the Los Angeles Rams. But between the fumble from Blake Corum on and plus territory, also the fact that the Rams should have had a fumble off of a 49ers kickoff in that third quarter, late in the third quarter, but forward progress was called. So Bill Vinovich's crew can't go review that because it was forward progress. I was actually listening to the Rams radio broadcast on the way back from Knoxville last night, and they were incensed about that. They were hot about that call. And even I was switching back and forth between them and Westwood One and that whole crew on the zone. And even the neutral guys at Westwood One were like, no, yeah, that's a fumble. There's no doubt. Ross Tucker on the broadcast is like, that is 100% a fumble and a game-changing call from Bill Vinovich's crew.
Well, it's kind of reminiscent of what happened in the very early in the Titans-Texans game Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Because that wasn't an incomplete pass.
From Cam Ward.
Like, that was a gift.
Right.
When Coach Mack looks at you, he's like, I'm like, yeah, I see the same thing you do.
Bill Vinovich, though, is not the referee for Rams fans to be mad at. You know why?
Why?
He was the referee of the non-pass interference call in the NFC Championship game in New Orleans. It was funny. JB Long, the play-by-play voice of the Rams, even on that broadcast, was like, even with 3 or 4 more of those, Bill Vinovich is still good in Los Angeles, but that was a miss. All right, 1st and 10. It was good. Wow. Funny callback to one of the worst calls in NFL history. But it goes to show, Rhett, that, again, and making this local with the Titans' perspective on this, any given Sunday in the NFL. And I know fans don't want to hear that with where the Titans are and how bad things have been and how difficult it has been to watch this offense at times over the first 4 weeks. But no one is immune to getting got on any given day. And last night, the LA Rams helped the San Francisco 49ers beat them, which illustrates 2 things. First and foremost, there will be a team that doesn't show up with their A game against the Titans. Can you take advantage the way that San Francisco did when the Rams helped you beat them?
Well, and that's exactly what this week and really every week going forward in the Titans season is about. It is more, you heard Cam Ward say it at the podium the other day. It's more about us than it is the Cardinals.
Right.
And that's true because you got to get your own house in order. And listen, I feel like I've said this a lot over the last several months as people are fully realizing, okay, this is a big time rebuild. It's a hard reset. And I'm the last person to try to preach patience because I don't have a lot of it.
Yeah.
I'm flawed as a person for sure. But it's going to be better. It's just not right now.
Right.
And I know that doesn't help you right this minute. You're like, but dang it, Red, I spend money on these tickets or I invest my time. I understand your frustration. Believe me.
Sure.
I've done almost 550 of these games. I've seen them all, good and bad and indifferent. And there are times I wish I didn't have to finish working the game, but I do, and I'm invested. And I just, I go back to it's people that I'm invested in that building.
Sure.
Who are trying to get this thing right and get it over the hump.
Totally.
So anyway, it's gonna get good. It's just not good right now. It's just gonna take time.
Yeah.
And I'm telling myself that's as much as I'm saying this to the people listening.
Sure.
To the zone, because I don't have a lot of patience.
Sure. Let's go to the phones. I did not expect to see Zach pop up today because Tennessee does not have an opponent for us to lyricize, to talk about, to write poetry, slam poetry over. Zach, good morning. What's up?
Hey, good morning, Will, Rhett, Jayhawk. It is the bye week, so it's going to be short and sweet, but the bye week ain't ever lost, Rhett, Moan, and Will, but it don't matter. Balls by 50.
Bring it, Zach.
Thank you, Zach. Appreciate the call. Bye week ain't played nobody. I love it. Zach, if you are new here, always gives some kind of lyrics or poetry or something to insult the opposition. Tennessee does not have an opposition, so we're insulting Idle this week. Thank you, Zach, for the call. Brent Hubs of AllQuest joins us coming up next.
Prince's Hot Chicken, the original hot chicken. They know a thing or two about hot, so they are bringing you the hottest moments of the week from Ramon and Will. Justin Hawkins here. This is a segment I like to call Prince's Hot Mic.
Big barista moan.
Yeah.
Getting it ready for us.
Wasn't too strong, was
It's
it?
very good. It's very good. I mean, I need strong in the morning
I know.
to make sure we know what we're talking about.
Sometimes we just have gas underneath the drip.
Yeah, that's
time.
fair. And then a couple hours later, then you also have gas. Just in a different way.
Yes, you do.
We get jet fuel, and then we make jet fuel.
Hot mics and hot chicken. Prince's knows hot. Prince's Hot Chicken, the original hot chicken.
Friday morning at Morning Will continues, fueled by Scooter's Coffee, locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet, with Rhett Bryan filling in for Vol Network analyst Ramon Foster this morning. I'm Will Bowling, joined by VolQuest, On Threes, Vol Networks, and our very good friend Brent Hubs this morning as Tennessee hits the first of 2 bye weeks of the 2025 season. Good morning, Brent. How are you?
I'm doing well. So Ramon, 5 weeks in a row is too much for him. That's what you're telling me.
Exactly right.
He needed a bye week. Okay.
Exactly right. Yep.
I think you just called him soft in so many words.
Typical former athlete.
There you go.
Needs an off day.
Hey, Brent, we have a saying. Coach Mack and I always talk about this. If they were a player, given the chance, they'll always show you at some point they were a player. And
I love it.
That ain't wrong.
I love it.
I love it. I'm sure Ramon has a big weekend of plans going on with his family. So I hope he travels safe, whatever he's doing.
Well, he was popping sparkling grape juice the other day, Brent, because his TW Hunter Bucks just won the middle school county championship, the offensive line that he coaches. So this is kind of like you go to Disney World after you win the Super Bowl. He's doing something to celebrate a middle school county championship.
Maybe he's going to Dollywood.
Yeah, for maybe. I love it. Going to go see a show and ride the Tennessee Tornado in celebration.
He's a big show guy.
Yeah.
He's a big show guy.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Brent, no coach has ever said this bye week comes at a bad time. But for Tennessee this year, it does feel like it really does come at a good time. Where is the health of this football team, starting with maybe some guys that were still playing through some things, Brent, specifically on the offensive line, Jesse Perry and Sam Pendleton? How have their practice habits or lack thereof looked this week, and how in jeopardy are they of maybe missing next weekend at this point?
I think both are going to be fine for Arkansas. I think both were held this week for precaution, and they put them in the walking boot just to help the ankles out. Both of them had pretty good ankle sprains. Both of them finished the game as offensive linemen do, and I asked Sam Pendleton walking through the complex. I said, are you all right? And he said, yeah. I said, well, that was the quickest trip to an injury tent I've ever seen. And he said, I told him, I said, you're not allowed to take my shoe off. Just put some tape over it because I got to go play.
Wow.
So I think it's one of those deals where both of them will be fine when they get to Arkansas. But if anybody had a bump or bruise of any note this week, they were not going to take any chances with them on the practice field. So Bryson Eason, Don Bailey, who have played a bunch of snaps, they're smart with them. Obviously, the 2 offensive linemen you're being smart with. You're trying to give those top 3 receivers a little time to get their legs back. So you didn't beat them up and run them to death all week long as well. Kitselman got a little time to kind of heal up because he's playing so many snaps. So there were a handful of guys, Arion Carter's another one, who were just, hey, man, catch your breath, get your legs. And I think it was important. I think this bye week came at a good time for Tennessee that way. So they should be as healthy maybe as they've been, with the exception of a couple of spots when they get into next week. Hobbs is going to be back, which will be big for the defensive interior. I know everybody wants to know about Jermod McCoy. He has not done anything team-wise, or did not do anything team-wise this week. So I'm still in a holding pattern with him. I know he's told some people he plans to play against Arkansas, but at some point you got to go through practice at full speed for the full practice before I get into the idea that you're quote back. So we'll see where that's at when they hit the practice field after they get back in town on Monday.
So, Brent, at this point, looking ahead even past Arkansas, and if Jermod McCoy's goal is to be closer to full go on the 3rd Saturday in October, how realistic is that when Tennessee goes to Tuscaloosa, they get even 50% of the snaps by Jermod McCoy at that point?
I don't think there's an answer to that question.
Okay.
I mean, and here's the reason why. I mean, he's got doctors, he's got trainers, and everybody's got to clear him to go. And he's got to be comfortable where he's at in terms of being able to return. He wants to play. I think the notion that some people put out there that he's mailing it in and he doesn't want to play is unfair. But he's got to be healthy. And what does healthy look like for this medical staff, for him, all the people surrounding him? Is healthy enough at 50%? Is healthy enough at 80%? I mean, what is healthy enough for him to be back out there to turn it loose and go play? And I just don't think we know the answer to that right now, which is why, I mean, he's doing right now, he's doing more of it, but he's doing what he's been doing since August. He's got to hit somebody. He's got to be an 11 on 11. He's got to cut it loose before you can say he's going to be back to at any capacity. And right now, he's not been allowed to cut it completely loose.
Brent Hubs joining us here on Ramon and Will. Brent, just a couple of things from your observations. What are maybe a couple of the most surprising things about Josh Heupel's Vols after a 4-1 start?
Oh, wow. There's a laundry list of them, but I mean, you got to start on offense, and you just don't have any idea what you're getting out of the transfer portal with Joey Aguilar. Now, you knew the tape and you knew he had played a bunch, but he got here at the end of May. How much could he learn the offense? How much could he become a leader on the team? How would he handle being at this league, making the elevation up? And he's been better than anybody thought he would be. I mean, his numbers to start the season are better than Hendon Hooker's numbers the first 5 games of the 2022 season, which is a record-setting offense. So it starts with him because he has been the key that's unlocked things offensively for Tennessee because he makes quick decisions. He processes very quickly. He can work the middle of the field. He can work outside. He throws a deep ball well and gives his guys a chance to go make a play. It starts with him. And then I'm going to stay on offense just because they were the unknown. And, the receiving core, I mean, Chris Brazzell was a guy who came in out of Tulane that everybody thought, okay, he'll be a nice fit for this system. And it just didn't happen for him last year. He was pretty average, to be honest with you. And, his 5-game heater right now is almost as good as any 5-game heater Jalen Hyatt had in 2022. Brazzell's making money every Saturday he plays. Joshua Joseph's on defense is improving his draft stock every Saturday he plays. We've not talked about Lance Hurd for 7 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever, which is the best news for Lance Hurd in terms of his future as well. So those are some of the positive surprises. If you're looking at it from the other side, defensively, they've given up more 20-yard plays than any of us expected them to give up. They've had a harder time getting off the field on 3rd down, and they've not set the edge well enough in the run game in 2 SEC games. And those were focal points this week in the bye week, and they'll be focal points next week, particularly that edge in the run game with Taylon Green, a mobile quarterback from Arkansas, coming to town.
Brent, you hit a couple of nails on the head of what I thought you might say. Let's go back to Chris Brazzell for a second because you're right. He's making bank every time he goes out there and does what he's done on this 5-game heater. Is maybe one of his best attributes is that he is becoming a combat catcher in this thing, as big as he is?
It is. The interesting story and the backstory on him is he was a basketball player and played football, and he was little. He was not very tall. He played as a slot, jitterbug, quick twitch receiver throughout high school. I mean, his freshman, sophomore year in high school, he was more of an inside little slot receiver, and he grew late. But once he grew, he had spent all of his time learning and developing as a kind of a quick twitch guy. So he learned how to run routes as an inside slot guy with really good feet because that was the only way he could get open because he wasn't big enough for jump balls and he wasn't big enough to kind of body anybody up. And now he's 6'4", and you put him on the outside, and he's he's a much better route runner than most 6'4" guys are. A lot of 6'4" guys, long striders, they're that track guy who gets vertical, and they have a hard time putting their foot in the ground and running, a shallow cross or a quick out or even a slant to some degree. He's a guy who's a better route runner than most people know because he learned how to run routes as a different style receiver than what he is now. There's still a level of physicality for him that he's going to need to continue to play with, and it's going to have to continue to develop. But people are going to look at his route running and his ability to run routes and go, wait a minute, we might be able to play him in a couple of different places at the next level, which is why he's making money.
Brent Hubs of AllQuested on 3, our guests this morning on Ramon and Will. Brent, we finally got to see David Sanders late in the game, albeit in not ideal circumstances on last Saturday in Starkville. How confident is this staff now in his ability to go out there and start? Is it fair to say that now you go back to plan A, that if he'd been available for Syracuse, he would have been the starting right tackle in week 1?
Yeah, I think that's where you go. I mean, and why would you not? For a couple of reasons. One, he's very athletic. By the way, great play call on his first play in the game.
Yes.
Pull him. Just pull him and let him hit somebody, right?
Yes.
There's not a read. He's not trying to climb to the second level. All he's doing is trying to smash a smaller guy on the edge, which, to get your first contact out of the way was a really smart move by Tennessee. But you have a bunch invested in him. Okay, let's not dance around that or hide that. I mean, he did not come, you didn't brother-in-law deal that one. He cost you money. He was your best right tackle coming out of spring practice. He was your best right tackle and one of your best 5 throughout the entire fall camp. On Wednesday, before you played your opener, he was your best right tackle and one of your best 5. Now he's back healthy. Why would he not be your best right tackle and one of your best 5? And I hate it for Sham Umarov because I think Sham's done a solid job playing in there at guard, but you're trying to get your best 5 on the field. And I think you're going to slide Jesse Perry inside to right guard. You're going to flip Wendell Moy back to left guard, and you're going to go back where you were 72 hours before your season opener when you got the shock of, you got the shock on Friday, 24 hours before your season opener that, hey, we're not going to have this guy. You're going to go back to who you thought you had when you got on an airplane to go to Atlanta and play Syracuse, I believe.
Brent, when you look at this weekend from a recruiting front, I know Tennessee assistants and Josh Heupel as well will be fanning out and covering a lot of ground, and players will go home and get a little bit of a weekend off. What is the primary focus of this weekend, Brent? Is it more looking ahead to the next class in 27? Are there battles that Tennessee feels like it needs to keep guys in the boat? What's kind of the headline, if you will, of the recruiting weekend for the staff at the moment?
It's a lot of seeing. It's a lot of going and seeing guys who, for the head coach, it's going and seeing guys who are committed. For assistant coaches, a lot of it's going and seeing guys in 27 and 28 class. So they were on the road last night. There's a lot of Thursday night games now. They'll all be on the road today. I think Josh Heupel's got 4 or 5 stops he's making today. So you're trying to capitalize on it as much as you can and make as much hay as you can when you have an open date and take advantage of it because guys are in the heart of their season. But for the head coach, it's about going and seeing a lot of committed guys. And then for the assistants, it's a little bit more about some 27s and 28s and continuing your evaluation process and go from there. Josh Heupel was in the Mid-State last night. He'll start the day in Knoxville today. He'll end up in North Carolina, and then from North Carolina, he'll end up, I think, in the state of Georgia.
Wow.
Is where he'll finish out today as well. So going to be a busy guy. He's going to see a couple of guys in school locally that are committed, and then he'll go see Faison Brandon, who's out right now with a hand injury. He'll just see him at the school, and then he'll go to Atlanta and watch a couple guys play tonight as well. So busy time for him, busy time for all the assistants because everybody can be out, and you're trying to hit as many spots as you can hit.
Goodness, it sounds like he's got either the Lane Kiffin or James Franklin helicopter going around that many places in one day, Brent.
I don't think he's got the helicopter.
Yeah, okay.
But when you make $9 million a year and you're the head coach at Tennessee, you're not walking through a concourse hoping your connectors on time. So you start in Knoxville this morning, you drive around and make a couple stops, and then you take a private jet to Charlotte, and you take a private jet to Atlanta. That's there are worse travel days for people around the country today.
No doubt.
Put it that way.
No doubt. Not a bad way to live. Brent, wanted to ask on the way out, and I did not have this on my bingo card to be asking. And I thought that this was just a nothing hot board for an MLB managerial opening. And then as much as fans want to talk about it, Brent, I wanted to ask you, is there anything to Tony Vitello and the San Francisco Giants, or is this another example of Tennessee fan base maybe jumping the gun and stressing about something that they don't need to stress about too quickly?
Well, I mean, the reality is, in 30 years of doing this, you never say never.
Sure.
Is where it's at. Would it be a way out of the box move for a baseball ops slash GM guy to make his first major league managerial hire and go get go get a college coach? Yeah, that would not be the norm based on the history of Major League Baseball. Is Tony Vitello well respected in Major League Baseball? Yes. Does he have relationships in Major League Baseball? Yes. He knows punter Buster Posey from the San Francisco Giants. They talk somewhat on the regular, from what I understand. They were together and visited with each other recently when the Rockies and the Giants played a series, and Tony was out visiting and seeing some of his former players. Have they had conversations in the last week or so? Yeah, I think they probably have. Does that mean Tony Vitello's leaving? No, I don't think it does. But the first time you say, there's nothing to that, you walk away, then, you look like a fool if something happens. So I don't think Tony minds his name being out there. Do I think he's going to stay in the college game ultimately? If you're making me say or guess this morning, my guess on that would be yes. I think he is. I think he stays at Tennessee. Do I think the Giants have some legitimate interest? I think they have interests or curiosities. I'm not saying he's at the top of their board, but yeah, I do think there's enough of a relationship there with their management team and their leadership that, they have some interest and intrigue there. But it's premature to say it's going to become anything. It's dumb on my part to say there's no chance it ever becomes anything. So We'll see.
He is Brent Hubs of All Quested on 3, joining us this morning here on the show. Brent, enjoy the bye week. I appreciate you as always, and we will get back to previewing a Tennessee football game day next Friday.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
You too, brother.
Brent Hubs of All Quested on 3 joining us, presented by Ascend Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. Brent has seen enough incredible things, unprecedented things for Tennessee coaches to ever say never, but I think that is that should make Tennessee fans feel probably a little bit better about that situation.
Yeah, it sounds more it doesn't sound impossible. It doesn't sound super probable.
Exactly.
Let's put it somewhere in there. But he's right. You do this as long as he has covering that program. Yeah, right. Don't count anything out, even if it sounds wacky.
Absolutely right. Coming up, Titans injury report has one key player who has not practiced this week. Potential for guys to need to step up in one big position of need for the Titans on Sunday in Arizona. We'll talk about that next. Wrapping up hour 2 this morning on our Morning Will, fueled by Scooter's Coffee on your Friday. Hope you're having a good start to your morning. Hope you stick around with us as we break down Titans and Cardinals as well in a half hour. Where the Titans and Cardinals each have advantages in Sunday's matchup in the house that Coach Mack built. Titans Radio, of course, we will be there on the ground. We'll head out there tomorrow. My first ever trip, Rhett, to Phoenix, Arizona. Never been before. Excited.
Have you been to Vegas?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to Vegas for the draft by myself.
Oh, that's right.
The station sent me out there, and Slade made me go gamble.
But he made you.
Yeah, he was like, "I swear, if you don't go out there and at least do something, I'm gonna be upset with you."
He made you go gamble.
I've told you that story, right, of what happened when I did that, right?
No.
I was there by myself. This was 22 NFL drafts. This was the night the Titans drafted Treylon Burks. This was the night before. I went down and I looked like a lost puppy. I had no idea what to even. I'd been to a casino before, and I went down there and they're like, "Would you like $10 of a free card play, free slot play, or do you want a free drink as you like open up to get your like card?"
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "What's the most antisocial thing where I can't get in anyone's way? Slot play. Give me free slot play." It's like, okay, $10, just a little card. I'm like, all right, go over, set up the machine. Put it in there. It was like a $5 max bet that you could do on these like little slot kind of things. It was like, all right, $5. I'll do the max. Nothing. Like, all right, whatever. $2 then. All right, nothing. I'm like, all right, whatever. Let's try one more. Did a $3 bet. These alarms start going off and red lights start blinking. And I was like, did I do something wrong? Like, was I not supposed? I thought I'd messed up in Subway. And it was $163 that I'd made with a $3 bet.
That's pretty good ROI there, buddy.
And I went, cashed out, went up to the room, had dinner, and went to bed.
Well,
I was down there for about 5 minutes.
well, that's okay. You didn't disappoint Slay.
Yeah, exactly right.
You did, and it worked in your favor.
It did.
Whether that was beginner's luck or not. And you're like, it doesn't sound like you're going to be trying to see if that was beginner's luck.
I
Like,
have not played
I
a
got to win.
slot since
I'm done.
I have not done a single, not gambled a cent.
What
in
about slot
that context
receivers
since.
for the Titans?
There you go.
How about that for a segue?
Good transition.
Hey now.
Calvin Ridley did not practice for the second straight day yesterday. Bryce Oliver is out as well. Rhett, who benefits snap count wise? Of course, there's not much of a benefit. Benefit's probably not the right word. Who steps up in your mind in Calvin Ridley's place if he is unable to go, or at least is not a full go this weekend against the Arizona Cardinals?
Well, it's already starting to show that obviously Cam and Eligio Manor have something going, which is good. But that still leaves you minus a veteran man. And if we're looking at veterans in this receiving room, I go back to Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson, 141 career catches, 1,900 yards, 12 touchdowns. And similar size frame. I'm just going by size and frame as much as anything because Calvin's 6'1", 190. He's 6'1", 200. And, I look at that as the easy plug and play and keep moving. But you're going to have to probably make a move. And that's why I suggested maybe bringing James Prochet up and having him ready in this thing. But you also suggested something different.
Xavier Restrepo, he's sitting there. I mean, if you're needing chemistry with Cam Ward, if you're needing someone to go out there and just get open and catch the football, I mean, at this point, all options have got to be on the table, at least considered, to figure out what the Titans can do to get this offense going a little bit.
Well, you suggested something earlier about moving, what did you say, move Tyler out? Right?
I think it's more likely, that you move Tyler Lockett outside and put Chim DK in the slot. Even if you brought up Xavier Restrepo or James Prochet, that is depth. Those are special teamers. Those are guys that are supplying you break glass in case of emergency. But
and here's the thing with what you're saying with that. It makes some sense just because how does one earn more opportunities on the roster by doing good things on special teams, a la Chim DK?
Right.
That's what I'm saying is
sure.
That theory makes sense because of the natural path for guys who do really good things on special teams that end up earning opportunities
right.
In their natural position group.
Yep. I think that's the most realistic option at this point is one of the two that we said. Honestly, I think they'll both happen because I don't think you just put in one player to replace Calvin Ridley if you need to. You split that between Van Jefferson and Tyler Lockett on the outside, and you see more Chim DK
Now,
to begin with.
Here's the other part. Let's go back and look at the Titans injury report as it pertains to the roster gymnastics and where they need bodies and things.
Yep.
So safety Mike Brown knee didn't practice yesterday. They've got James Lynch limited all week with a shoulder. It's not. I'm just looking to see what could be the place because there's O-line stuff, obviously, with J.C. Latham, Blake Hance, and Zeitler's got a foot and was limited. But that's always something to consider in this and what they have to do to get to, the active 46.
For sure. So, if Bryce Oliver was healthy, I think this would be a Bryce Oliver, throw him out there at X receiver kind of game.
Would not disagree with that because this coaching staff likes him in that role, not just as he's really turned into a nice gunner. That's what I miss seeing him out here running dudes down on kick coverage teams. But I believe they trust him enough and like his skill set enough for him to help in a pinch in something like this. I think that would probably be the immediate plan, but doesn't look like he's going to be available.
Right.
So
let's go to Richard on the phone, 615-737-1045. What's up, Richard?
I heard the keys to the game for the Tennessee Titans would be this one, but the Tennessee Titans keys to the game would be a huge one. The key to the game for the Tennessee Titans against the Arizona Cardinals will be rushing the yards and trying to get into the other things. Plus, and then you have the Cam Moore trying to throw it to Calvin Ridley, and then you have to keep focus on trying to get into the targets that the receivers needed. And then the injury report is that J.C. Latham will be released from the Tennessee Titans roster, and the offensive tackle will be named to replace J.C. Latham. And that's all the things that happen.
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate
okay,
the
Richard.
call.
Appreciate that.
We're going to see a right tackle to that point about, who replaces JC. JC, I know Easton Freeze put out there, it is kind of a game of chicken between soft tissue injury with the groin like that of at what point do you just throw JC out there and trust that it's not going to 100% get better, but also when are you going to maybe make things worse? And I think they were hopeful he could maybe be back this week, but he's not practiced all week either.
Yeah, and that's, I think that's the part that going back to, we discussed the problems with the Houston Texans. You had a chance in these first 4 games and going forward if your starting 5 offensive linemen were up, healthy, and ready. And, injuries happen in football, and so that's not the case here.
Right.
But yeah. So, there are a lot of things, and I know we're going to get to this later in the show about advantage, disadvantage. There are some places where the Titans can take advantage of some things.
There are.
Just kind of peeling back the layers of the onion. We're going to get into that here pretty soon.
We'll do that coming up at 8:20 here in Hour 3. Still to come this morning, Tate Matthews, our high school football expert, will preview the Friday Night Lights action with us at 9 o'clock. Ron Slay at 9:20. But when we come back, what we have learned this week and what we have broken down in Alabama versus Vanderbilt, the key matchups to watch tomorrow afternoon in Tuscaloosa, coming up next.
I love living in Middle Tennessee. We've got great restaurants, entertainment, sports, and one of the nation's top Ford dealers right here in our backyard. Two Rivers Ford. Remember that name. Two Rivers has been a staple in our community since 1983. They're locally owned. They have a non-commissioned sales team, and they sell below MSRP. They've been doing business with integrity for decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
It is 8:01. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Happy Friday. I'm Justin Hawkins. The San Francisco 49ers get a big fourth down stop in overtime last night in Thursday Night Football and improved to 4-1 on the season as they upset the Los Angeles Rams 26-23. Mac Jones started in place of Brock Purdy for the 49ers and proceeded to throw for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kendrick Bourne had 10 catches for 142 yards. The Tennessee Titans are headed out west to Phoenix in search for their first win of the season as they face the 2-2 Arizona Cardinals. In Thursday's injury report, J.C. Latham still out with his hip injury, and Calvin Ridley misses a second straight practice this week with a knee and elbow injury. Brian Callahan will meet with the media later today, and he'll give the final injury report. Sunday, you can catch the Lee Company countdown to kickoff right here on 104.5 The Zone starting at 12 o'clock before Titans Radio with Titans Countdown begins at 2 p.m. Taylor Zarzer, Coach Dave McGinnis takes over for Titans and Cardinals kickoff at 3 o'clock. Of course, all of that is right here on The Zone. Nashville Soccer Club with a short turnaround after winning the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday. They're in Canada facing off with CF Montreal as MLS play resumes with 2 matches remaining in the season. First kick tomorrow at 1:30 and coverage begins on The Zone at 1 o'clock. And a big SEC showdown. Diego Pavia, number 16 Vanderbilt, traveled to Tuscaloosa for a battle with Ty Simpson and the number 10 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Kickoff at 2:30 on ABC. For all your foundation repair and waterproof needs, go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show, hour 3, getting started on your Friday morning edition of Ramon and Will. As we wrap up the week, get you off and running into your weekend. And as always, Scooter's Coffee makes us caffeinated and opinionated for 4 hours a morning. Locally owned Scooter's Coffee in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks. Amazingly fast. Tomorrow afternoon in Tuscaloosa, the eyes of the college football world turn their attention to the Vanderbilt Commodores. Vanderbilt and Alabama, a top 20 matchup. Some say that this could easily be a top 10 matchup if you really just nameless, faceless rankings on teams. You took off the logos on the helmets, the preseason rankings. These are 2 of the better teams in college football right now, playing each other tomorrow afternoon. Rhett Bryan's in for Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins, our producer. I'm Will Boulding. We talked about this yesterday, Rhett. You had the chance to see Vanderbilt up close and spotting for Titans TZ, Taylor Zarzer on the SEC Network call of Vandy, Utah State last weekend. How does Vandy pull this off as they go to Tuscaloosa tomorrow? Because there's no underselling it. They absolutely have a chance to pull this off tomorrow against Alabama.
They do, and I think it starts with Diego Pavia in this offense. If they can somehow get off to a decent start, which is something they didn't do last Saturday against Utah State. They were actually down 14-7, and then that was the last time that occurred, and next thing you know was 55-35. But Diego Pavia, I think, and the offense are the keys to this, trying to get things rolling early on. Just looking at his numbers, 13 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions, 9.6 yards per pass attempt in that, 12.9 per carry. That is
crazy,
huge. And in contrast and comparison, you look at Ty Simpson. 12.9 yards per completion. Anyway, 9.9 yards even per attempt for Ty Simpson, 12.9 yards per completion, I should say. So some very similar attributes there, but rushing, let's take a look and see what Diego is. Yeah, 6.1 a carry. Pretty good for a QB.
Still, yeah, it's not 12, but it's still excellent. It's still very impressive.
But I just look at all the weapons, whether it's Cedric Alexander, whether it's
Andrew MJ Young.
James L. Lassiter, who had a big score. Right. All of those guys in the backs. But Stowers is there. And you look at Junior Sherrill. Again, Junior Sherrill had 3 scores in the first half last week.
Right.
So there's weapons there that can help this guy. It's just Clark Lee and those guys in the coaching staff walking into Tuscaloosa. Not that they're intimidated, but just going, you know what? The football field is still in the dimensions that it is.
Sure.
Goalposts are still what they are.
Sure.
Let's focus and ignore the noise. Because if you can get them involved early and separate the score early, that crowd, I'm telling you, they could turn on their own down there.
I agree.
Just because they have been looking for a signature win by Kalen DeBoer. They got that done last week, but that was last week. And if something goes awry this week, fans can turn.
We had Chris Lee of Vandy 247 on the show earlier this week talking about the matchup. These were his thoughts on the key matchup that's got to be won Saturday for Vanderbilt.
Oh, I think it's a couple things. Alabama beat Georgia. They lost the game on the stat sheet. I think Bill Conley said they had about a 19% chance to win that one based on the box score. But I don't know how much he factors in first downs. And Alabama won that one pretty decidedly, and that's probably why Alabama won the game. Vanderbilt's thing has been ball control, right? It's been converting third down. So I think, can Vanderbilt flip the script on Alabama and control possession with the mobile quarterback? And, oh, by the way, you saw how many problems Alabama had last year with Diego Pavia and with Thomas Castellanos of BC in the opener. I think that's one big thing on one side. I think the other side, I do have some concerns about Vanderbilt's ability to cover. Now, like if you can get to the passer quicker, which they've done at times this year, Nick Rinaldi and Corday Sidner have been really, really good up front, and so is Miles Capers. You can cut down your windows for Ryan Williams or somebody to spring open with a pass rush. But if you don't get home, I think Alabama's speed and playmaking ability is a concern. I didn't think their corner play last week was great. Again, maybe that's because they didn't get to the passer as much. And maybe some of that was by design. Maybe you don't want to show everything against Utah State that you're going to show against Alabama. I don't know the answer there. But I think if you said, what is your concern for this team? I would say it's probably the ability to cover elite receivers downfield. I want to see how they answer the bell. I want to see if Martell Hyde has a bigger role there. But I think that's my biggest current concern from a Vanderbilt standpoint is how do they handle that? Because Alabama has got some dudes who can make some plays downfield.
That is the pivot point of this matchup. It is the question. Can Vanderbilt cover the explosive pass game that Alabama is going to display? That's the number one thing they've got to do, because you can do all of what you did on offense last year and sustain drives and pick up third downs. Alabama is one of the worst third down defenses in the SEC. They also have one of the worst rushing defenses in the SEC. All that is fine and good. But if you go on a 12-play, 75-yard drive that takes 7 minutes, a lot of that is undone if Alabama can go 3 plays for 80 yards in a minute 30. So I think that is the biggest key in this game. Vanderbilt has to find a way, whether it's schematically what they're able to do or just covering those receivers. I mean, sometimes it is that simple. Just can you win your individual matchups? When Ty Simpson has had time to throw, he has looked like one of the best quarterbacks in college football this year. He is starting to rise up in the Heisman conversation as well as he played over the weekend in Athens. So I think that's number one. Nick Kelly of AL.com was also on the show this week talking from the Alabama perspective and had similar thoughts of where the Crimson Tide have the advantage over the Commodores.
That's a good question. I need to honestly study their defense more, but to me, the biggest strength Alabama has in just about every matchup this year is its passing game and specifically its receiving core against just about anyone. I mean, and Ryan Williams is on. He, of course, dropped that touchdown against Georgia, but he's the best player in the roster. And you look at Jeremy Bernard, who's been he's been very reliable, making plays. And so you have him, you have Isaiah Horton, who they added from Miami, who's just kind of that big receiver, a little bit Roma Dunze type. I'm not saying he's quite playing at that level, but he's that big receiver that they like having the offense. And they have some other younger guys, too, that these guys can win matchups Ty Simpson right now is seeing the field really well. And so I don't care really who your defense is. I think most are going to have trouble if Alabama's receivers are playing the way they are, especially with Ty Simpson in sync.
That was Dick Kelly of AL.com this week. If you are a Vandy or Bama fan and want to know more about the matchup, subscribe wherever you download podcasts to Ramon and Will. You can check out both of those full segments. Rhett, that is the difference in this game, is Alabama's ability to throw the ball deep downfield and win those outside one-on-one matchups.
And that's why if Vanderbilt, and let me say this real quick to our Vandy friends in the chat, they're right. There was some officiating that was questionable in the first quarter and the first half of that Utah State game, and that the reason that they trailed early on is there was some penalty-aided drives involved in that, and I omitted that, and I didn't mean to. But if you can make Bama play your game, that's the key to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing, and you heard both of those guys talk about Williams' the drop rate for him. Like he's had issues with that. Dropping, I mean, a big one last week, but he's had a percent. I want to say he had like a 29% drop rate going into that game. But you can't rely on those things.
Right.
Those things can correct themselves, and you still have to find a way to get it done. But if you can make them play your game, because the other thing Chris Lee mentioned, there's some pass rush effort there with Vanderbilt. They can get to the quarterback. They really can. So I just think if you can leverage them into that, because if you let Bama start dictating how it's going to run, especially at home, that could be problematic. That's why I say get out to a quicker start, and I think you got a chance to make this thing happen. The other part of it, too, and I mentioned this when we talked about Vandy yesterday, they've got a legitimate kicker in Brock Taylor.
Yes, they do.
Who's got some...
Been around for a minute.
And he's got some distance. I mean, he can hit it. So that's another thing that if you keep the score from getting separated, you have a special teams weapon there potentially.
For sure.
But if you can get out and make some plays in this thing early, and then you can get them off the field or maybe even get them in a turnover situation. Listen, my confidence level right now that they could go beat Bama, it's better than 50%. I mean, that's probably conservative.
Sure. Line, I believe, still 10.5 points in favor of Alabama. I said it yesterday. I think Alabama, this is a close game going into the fourth quarter, and Bama pulls away late. I just think they make more plays in the explosive passing game. And yes, Vanderbilt also has explosive play ability. And they're not just death marching teams, right? They're not just doing 15, 20 play drives. But that is their formula to win this game, is extending long possessions and making Alabama squirm a little bit and forcing Alabama to make mistakes. What Vanderbilt, though, has to do is their defense has got to start better against offenses on their opening script. Vandy has allowed opponents to score within their first 2 drives in 4 out of their 5 games so far this year. Teams have been good on opening scripts against them.
Yep.
Alabama is also a good opening script team. Even in their loss to Florida State, they marched right down the field and made it look easy.
Mm-hmm.
Against Georgia on the road, they quieted that crowd. How much can Vanderbilt's offensive staff stomach being behind and still playing a ball control game? Because if you're Alabama, you want to get a lead and force Diego Pavia's arm to beat you in the way that Tennessee beat Vanderbilt last year. And I know that's not a healthy Diego Pavia. That's not the same offensive line. That's not the same team. That's not a one-to-one comparison. But the game formula, the pathway to victory is similar. Your pathway to beating Vanderbilt is get Diego Pavia in a predictable drop-back passing game where they've got to play from behind. And that's what Vanderbilt's got to avoid. You can't get outside of your run game, your option attack, and who you are if you get down early.
Let's take it a step further, because the tipping point for the Bama coaching staff is, where is the tipping point where the score is separated enough where you can start doing those things and making Diego Pavia beat you. But here's the problem with that. Diego Pavia can beat you.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That's the thing
100%.
that is just wild about seeing how this Clark Lee thing has come along and how they've built this up. There's weapons at his disposal aerially. He can beat you, and he can beat you with his legs. I've seen him do it.
Yep. Could be a good game. I think it's going to be tight. I think Bama pulls away because they just have more dudes, and that home crowd. I mean, it's still a really, really tough place to play.
It is, and listen, that's where you're going to have to make people believe that, hey, listen, we built our team a different way. We understand Bama has a pipeline of 4 and 5 stars. We don't care about that. Let's go in there and play our game.
All the pressure is on Alabama.
Oh, there's no question.
There is no doubt about that.
And think about how much it would be if it didn't happen the way it did last Saturday night.
It's true.
Like this would even be a more different conversation.
Like a playoff elimination game if they lost to Georgia.
It's like, then it would be a straight up, how does Bama try to beat Vandy?
Right.
That's what we would be really, really talking about.
For sure. But
it's fair in this conversation, but after last week, it's different.
Right. And we've looked at it from both sides. All week we've talked about what's Vandy's pathway to win, what's Alabama's pathway to win.
Yeah.
I think we've gone on both sides of that for sure.
No, I'm very interested to see that, and I know Jim Wyatt will be as we are traveling to Glendale, Arizona.
That's right. I hope we have some kind of screen where we can
that would be good.
Get some kind of eyeballs on the game tomorrow in the air. All right, coming up next, what do the Titans need to do to beat the Arizona Cardinals, where the Titans and Cardinals each have advantages in Sunday's Week 5 matchup in the house that Coach Mack built? We'll break it down next. Ramona Will, the 104.5 The Zone, hour number 3 on this beautiful Friday. Hope you're having a good start to your morning. Rhett Bryant in for Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins, 615-737-1045, our number. Tate Matthews coming up at 9 o'clock, previews the high school football Friday, and Ron Slay as we lose the roof at 9:20 this morning.
We will go convertible in hour 4.
Exactly right. So, Rhett, where do you see an advantage for both the Titans and the Cardinals on Sunday in this matchup? Let's look from the Titans' perspective first.
Yep.
Where does this team have a leg up and could find success in this football game?
All right, so let's start with the obvious. So, James Conner, hurt, IR. Trey Benson earlier this week, meniscus, cleanup, arthroscopic surgery, at least 4 weeks, IR. And that leaves Bam Knight, Zonovan Bam Knight, Michael Carter, I think they signed him off the practice squad, and Amari DiMercado.
And they just signed practice squad running back and spy, Jamar Jefferson, as well, who has been with the Titans since training camp.
So just thinking about that part of it, and this is a NFL Plus next gen stat, or NFL Pro stat, I should say. So this season, backup quarterback Jacoby Brissett has been subbed in for sneaks on short yardage to gain, successfully converting his sole attempt. James Conner, 5 rushing attempts on 3rd and short or 4th down this season, converting for a first down 3 times, while no other Cardinal running back has received a single carry in that. And the reason I say that, I'll foreshadow that by saying, after attempting 1 quarterback sneak during his rookie season, Kyler Murray has yet to do it.
Wow.
Again.
Interesting.
Now, size, I think, is a part of that. Because, if you're a 6'5" quarterback, you can lay across the line if you get enough push and you get the nod there. But I just wonder, in short yardage situations to gain, that isn't a place where the Titans might have an advantage.
Sure. I think so, too. And I think you look at, again, number 22 rushing offense in the league, but without their lead back. Cardinals also, I think this is kind of one advantage they have as well, but 19th in the league on 3rd downs, the Arizona Cardinals offense. They are aggressive, though, on 4th down. They are number 1 in the NFL, 4 for 4 on 4th down conversions this season. I wonder what the adjustment is from them offensively, and if they try to play more 11 on 11 in the run game, and if Kyler Murray pulls it a little bit more on some of those RPO looks to keep the Titans defense honest against 3rd, 4th, and 5th string running backs.
I think the other part of it, too, is just we talked all week about how they run 13 personnel,
sure,
more than anybody in the league. 1 back, 1 receiver, 3 tight ends, and people automatically think, well, that's somebody lined up in a jumbo package to the right and stacked tight end. No, because, you'll have it where it'll be even 12 personnel that looks like 11 and 13 anyway. You get what I'm saying. Trey McBride is the main problem in this, but I go to another place where maybe this Titans secondary can win a battle in this, and this goes back to L'Jarius Sneed and his teammates in this. Marvin Harrison Jr. he's had 45 receiving yards or more in 11 career games. He's only done it twice. Now, he's done it twice this year in their week 1 win over the Saints, and then he had 66 last week in the loss to Seattle. But it says Harrison Jr. has recorded 3 receptions or fewer in each of his last 2 games. The Seahawks defense has allowed the 4th fewest passing yards. That was going into that Thursday night game. So obviously that changed. But that's why I say Marvin Harrison Jr., the light necessarily still hasn't clicked completely on, because when it does, that's a problem
for sure
for anybody in that division, and certainly anybody that plays them in any given week, because now you have 2 consistently good targets for Kyler Murray, because we know what Trey McBride is. And again, you have 2 giant dudes who have huge wingspans and catch radiuses to help their quarterback out.
Right.
But I think you're right in the run defense part of this, that, if you can slow the game down and get into that kind of battle, and then if Tajay were to somehow play on Sunday, I'd say that's potentially check mark advantage Titans.
I agree. And, Red, I feel like the Titans are hoping to flip the script on an opponent the way teams have defended them. Can you stop the run enough in early downs, and can you get a team behind the chains? That way this pass rush that is looking for guys to emerge and to be more consistent around the edge can pin their ears back in predictable passing situations and get after the quarterback. One positive, and it's one thing I noticed from down on field level, and two, when I watched the film back and watched the condensed game again at NFL Plus in Houston, I noticed this too. I think Femi Oladejo is coming on a little bit. And I know the numbers and the production aren't there yet, and he's got to get all the way to the quarterback to start to take steps forward. But again, I'll continue to do this for the first 2-3 years of his career, Rhett. Nick Bonitto, the edge rusher for the Denver Broncos we saw in week 1, that is the comp for Femi Oladejo in terms of a more slider-built, speed, faster edge guy around the edge who is learning the position and learning a changeup and a curveball to his fastball. Femi Oladejo, switching from inside linebacker to edge rusher, has only played about now, I think, 13 games as an edge rusher in his football life since middle of last season at UCLA. He was able to out-athlete guys at UCLA and just run around him and get to the quarterback. You don't have that luxury. I'm noticing him more, Rhett, just from my perspective down there on the field, getting upfield a little bit more and finding a little bit more success. Nick Bonitto, the edge rusher for Denver, who is one of the best edge rushers in the league, had 1.5 sacks as a rookie and a second-round pick out of Oklahoma. And now he is a double-digit sack guy year in and year out. You hope that Femi has that same kind of maturation process that I think is getting a little bit better.
And the thing with Femi, and just getting Coach Mack's opinion on this, because as we just start look at the next opponent as we do, early into the week every week. And I said, is he starting to flash a little more in film? He said, not as much that as he's been really good at learning how to set the edge.
Right.
That's where you see him show up.
For sure.
Because you see, all of a sudden, you see a 7 appear there, and you're like, okay. But yeah, you're right. He just, he is still learning the position. And heaven help us, man, if he can become something like Nick Bonitto, golly, that's a really good thing.
Those are high expectations, of course. I'm not trying to put too high.
But I'm saying if he becomes anything like that, good grief, that's the hope. So I'm got a pen right here. Let's co-sign.
That's why you draft him in the second round, for sure. I think as well, you look at Arizona and their secondary and another potential Titans advantage. And again, we don't know if Calvin Ridley's playing in this game, but just on paper, 2 young corners on the outside. You have the very talented second-round pick out of Michigan, Will Johnson, on one side. Rhett, if he had been totally healthy in the draft process, not only is he a first-round pick, he's maybe a top 10 overall pick. And he's played well. Pro Football Focus says he's a top 10 corner according to their metrics to start the season. On the other side, one of those slider-built corners, Max Melton, out of Rutgers, who is another second-round pick into the 2024 draft, who we scouted in that process last year. A weakness there for him, talking about the Titans' run game, maybe having an advantage. Out of 98 cornerbacks in the NFL, Max Melton ranks 98th in run defense. He has a 27.2 run defense grade. So I think there are vulnerabilities in the way the Cardinals stop the outside run if you can force those corners to tackle.
Here's the other thing that we have failed to mention. We talked earlier in the show, time to get those Zone podcasts, go get them, about all of Baltimore's injury woes. Arizona's had a bunch. I think they've got, 14 guys on IR? Walter Nolan, their big pick, he hasn't played yet. He got hurt, in training camp or in one of the preseason games. They've had some issues. And it made me think about that when you mentioned Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan. So they haven't been playing with a full deck either.
Right. Looking from the other perspective, Rhett, where do you see this Arizona team having the biggest strengths? Where do you see them with the advantage on the Titans?
I think it's literally comes down to those offensive weapons. There's two places where it's different, but the offensive weapons and Kyler Murray making the off schedule plays with his body, and having guys like Trey McBride, like Marvin Harrison Jr. And we haven't talked about the other weapons in this. Like Zay Jones has been banged up in this. Semi Fehoko has been, and he's made plays. Michael Wilson, the third-year guy from Stanford, who's a good-sized receiver. Greg Dortch, though, the little gadget guy, as Mac would say, don't underestimate him. Almost 5'8", 180. He makes plays in their offense. Now, what he really is their primary return guy, punt and kick.
Right.
And people are like, well, we have Chim Dike. Well, we do. But I looked at Greg Dortch. He has just a tick better in average kickoff returns than Chim does right now. So
Solid.
just telling you about setting up field position. But that's one thing. The other is this Arizona Cardinals defense is better than people think. When you look at the overall numbers, I mean, what are they? Fifth best scoring defense, only allowed 74 points so far. 168 pass attempts by the opposing quarterback, eighth against the run, 4 yards per carry allowed. But you look at who they have in the front levels of that thing. And, when you start talking about Calais Campbell and you start talking about Darius Robinson, who also has had some injury issues of himself. Bilal Nichols is a guy they're waiting to get back on the interior. Dalvin Tomlinson plays in that spot. And then Josh Sweat, who was their big free agent get. There's a lot of production there.
Right.
I mean, those two, I think, have 22 quarterback pressures and 6 quarterback sacks between them. And I think we discussed maybe yesterday or Wednesday the quick pressures, 2.5 seconds or left. I think that the Cardinals have 27 of those so far in 2025. So Cam's going to have his head on a swivel as usual. And but those are the places where it stands out that they do things well.
Right.
That could be a disadvantage.
Situationally, Rhett, I think, too, the Cardinals have advantages at a couple of key places, including third downs. It's one of the best third down defenses in the NFL. The Cardinals are 11th in opponent third down conversion percentage at 34.6%. The Titans have really struggled in third downs, especially against, third and chains, as Max says, and being behind the sticks where you were able to have Josh Sweat and Calais Campbell put you in predictable passing situations. So I think that's where you start. And then, two, Arizona has been really good in opposing red zone percentage as well. One of the best red zone defenses in the NFL, 8th, just allowing 7 touchdowns and 15 trips for their opponents into the red zone. So they've got some physical, inexperienced, but talented corners on the outside. And Budda Baker might be the best safety in football.
Yeah,
He's
and
up there,
that's something I should have mentioned when I mentioned defense, because that's the first thing came out of Cam Ward's mouth the other day. He's number 3. Number 3's there a lot. And that's the guy that's the enforcer against those. That's why there are 11th in third down opponent allowed, especially running, because he's the guy that comes down into the box as the 8th guy. And the third and chain stuff, it's real. I mean, 2 of 14 against Denver. 12 of those were 3rd and 7 plus.
Mm-hmm.
6 of 15 on third down versus the Rams in week 2. 10 of those were 3rd and 7 plus. Versus Indianapolis the following week, they were 5 of 14 on third down. 11 of those were 3rd and 7 plus. And then last week at Houston, 2 of 11 on third down. 9 of those 3rd and 7 plus.
I want to see Cam Ward move around. I want to see the Titans establish the run game in the same way. I think there are opportunities to be had there, especially on the outside. And then how do you benefit from that foundation being set? Can you move those linebackers around a little bit and roll out on play action, get Cam moving? That way it is easier for him to do what he does, throwing off script, but can you make the off script look kind of like a script? Like, meaning, can you move Cam around the way Brian Callahan talked about Wednesday and create a lot of those deep down the field, off-platform moments for him, but do it with a plan. Because right now, a lot of the best moments of this offense are when Cam just starts playing backyard football.
In other words, what you're saying is what looks and appears to be an off-schedule play is actually a part of the script.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Another cool story about Arizona real quick as we kind of wrap up looking at them. Their center, 4th-round pick by the New England Patriots in 2019. This was a classic Belichick pick and the kind of guy that they just go find. He was an older center when he was drafted, a 24-year-old rookie from Denmark by the name of Hjalte Froholt.
Yes.
Who is
Mac and I vetted him when he came out.
Who is a Bill Callahan disciple. Hjalte Froholt did not last very long with the New England Patriots who drafted him. They got rid of him after just one season, and Bill Callahan turned him into a starting center in the NFL who made 6 starts in 2022 with the Cleveland Browns. And then after his year 3 season there, went to Arizona where he's been since 2023. Hjalte Froholt is ranked by Pro Football Focus as the number 3 center in football this year. Guy who is a day 3 pick, developmental prospect, 24-year-old, just immediately cut by his first team, moved on by his second team, and he's found a home in Arizona and has become a pretty good center in the middle of that Arizona Cardinals offensive line, which is solid this year for them so far.
I just wonder if Hjalte is the origin for Bertha and Olga. Now that I think about it.
Perhaps. It's a good point.
Hjalte Froholt.
Yep.
Played in Arkansas.
So a fun matchup there. A couple of fun guard defensive tackle matchups with Froholt against Jeffrey Simmons and Calais Campbell against Peter Skronsky and Lloyd Cushenberry. Those big dudes who know what they're doing.
Yep.
So fun matchup there. 615-737-1045. NFL headlines heading into week 5 for you coming up next. Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooter's Coffee. We have talked Titans. We have talked Vols. We have talked ripped suit pants this morning. Let's talk a little bit of NFL Week 5. Trayvon Walker, left wrist surgery, apparently could still play against the Kansas City Chiefs, Rhett Bryan, on Monday night. Liam Cohen saying yesterday morning he is still day to day and a part of a defense in Jacksonville that is much better than I think anybody expected them to be. Second on the team with 2 sacks, 12 tackles, 1 PBU, and a huge game in Jacksonville on Monday Night Football. It feels weird saying those words all back to back to back to back together.
Well, and here's the thing. They've been drafting and they've been looking, and of course they had major change. Liam Cohen was their guy. He had agreed to be the OC of another multi-year deal with the Buccaneers. And, well, why is that? And next thing you know, who was it? The GM that
Trent Baalke.
Yeah, Trent Baalke.
Was ousted.
Yeah. And so here comes James Gladstone via the Rams. So it's a whole new deal there. And actually being able to see Jacksonville, I watched part of that game on the NFL Plus app before we took off from Houston, and they're playing good ball. My impression out of that small sample size is they may be the ones to win the division.
I think so
they
too.
may very well be the ones, because we talked about it all offseason. If Liam Cohen could unlock that's whatever is they have believed in Trevor Lawrence after being a number 1 overall pick, and they could truly unlock that, and he's got weapons to choose from, that could be a dangerous thing. And Travis Hunter, made a 28-yard catch over the middle in traffic.
He's playing well.
There's some things going on. As much as it pains me to say, Jacksonville is playing well. But I was surprised to see that about Trayvon Walker myself.
Kyle Hamilton joined Lamar Jackson as Ravens to miss practice yesterday.
Burt is near the ledge.
Yeah, that's right. There are 9 Pro Bowl players from last year who are dealing with injuries on the Baltimore Ravens roster. Jackson and Hamilton. Then 3 other Pro Bowlers who did not practice yesterday. Roquan Smith, who has a hamstring injury. Quarterback Marlon Humphrey, who has a calf injury, and fullback / moving offensive tackle, because he's just a bowling ball that just runs around and hits people. Patrick Ricard with a calf injury. Baltimore likely to start Cooper Rush, the former backup quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, at quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know. We said that yesterday about, I don't know how this works out for the 49ers. They win in overtime, so
figured out a way, right?
They still have to go play the game, is how I see that. But man, has Baltimore been bitten by the injury bug. And then the other part that nobody's really talking about, and I'm sure they are in Baltimore, is Derek has fumbling issues all of a sudden.
Yeah, and Ramon was talking about it the other day too. Again, he's still wearing the half sleeves on his forearms that make it harder to hold on to the ball. Those are slippery. Ramon talked about it that was a thing for us in Pittsburgh. Mike T would tell you to go rip off those little half sleeves and the skin to football contact. You're more likely to,
unless that sleeve is made like a receiver's gloves.
Right.
Forget
exactly.
it. Right.
Exactly. So I'm surprised
I went back and looked. That next to last year he was here, he had 6 fumbles in a year.
Yes,
that's his career high.
Yes,
he's already got 3.
And lose them games.
I was going to say that
cost them the Buffalo game at the very least.
They're 1-3, unfortunately, because 22 put it on the carpet, which is something he just doesn't do a lot.
Right. And then Mac Jones, obviously, who started for the 3rd time this season last night in the 49ers upset win over the Rams, I think is going to keep playing, because Brock Purdy, according to Ian Rappaport, is week to week. There is no timetable for his return from a toe injury, as well as McCorkle's playing right now. Why rush him back?
Well, and McCorkle has his own issues. Do you see him wincing
PCL
after
injury?
Yeah, and that left knee.
Their backup to him is Adrian Martinez, former Nebraska quarterback who was committed to Butch Jones and Tennessee at one point.
Whoa.
That's how long Adrian Martinez has been around. Yeah.
I'm impressed with Mac, though. Mac Jones was one of those at Alabama. he can move the football. Be like, how much of this is at Alabama, right?
Right.
And he ends up being a first round pick of New England, and he got smacked around pretty good there. I think where he really cut his teeth pretty well is his time in Jacksonville and having to play in some places for Trevor Lawrence when he got beat up a couple times. Because Mac Jones, again, last night he looked more like Mac Montana.
Yes.
Because he was operating that offense, man. I mean, spinning it. So good for him. Good on him. Everybody made fun of, him, the shirtless pick in the locker room smoking stogies at Alabama. Like, this guy's a quarterback?
Yes.
Well, look at him now. This guy is a quarterback.
He looks like the all-time the all-time quarterback at your turkey bowl of the one uncle who's just quarterback for both teams. That's what fair. He's more built like.
That's fair.
But people made fun of us on this show when the Titans were reportedly interested in bringing him in as a bridge quarterback. Like, oh, Mac Jones, you kidding me? He can't play. Well, what are you talking? Why would he come? This is why.
Well, here's the other part. Here's what gets lost in this, and it's evidenced by the old pathway of you had to wait your turn, and it was always better if you observed and then started. Look at Jordan Love right now with the time he had to spend on the bench, learning and watching behind Aaron Rodgers. That used to be the model. Now it's you got to go produce now, and you get thrown into the frying pan. Look at some of these quarterbacks and how they have come along. Sam Darnold is a prime example.
It takes time sometimes.
It takes time. Mm-hmm. Look at, I'm just thinking about Geno Smith has been a later bloomer.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just one of those things where, it's like I said yesterday, let's not grade draft classes right after they've been drafted. Let's wait on that just a minute.
Yep. Coming up next, Tate Matthews joins us previewing the night of high school football coming up next.
9:01, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Happy Friday. The Tennessee Titans are headed out west to Phoenix in search for their first win of the season as they face the 2-2 Arizona Cardinals Sunday. In Thursday's injury report, J.C. Latham still missing practice with his hip injury, and Calvin Ridley missed his second straight practice of the week with a knee/elbow injury. Head coach Brian Callahan will meet with the media later today, and he'll update with the final injury report for the week. Sunday, you can catch the Lee Company countdown to kickoff at 12 o'clock right here on 104.5 The Zone before Titans Radio takes over at 2 p.m. with Titans Countdown. Then Taylor Zarzer, Coach Dave McGinnis take over for Titans and Cardinals with kickoff at 3:05, all right here on The Zone. Nashville Soccer Club tomorrow afternoon with a 1:30 first kick as they face off against CF Montreal as MLS play resumes, and 2 matches remain in the season. Coverage begins on The Zone at 1 p.m. And a big SEC showdown tomorrow as Diego Pavia and number 16 Vanderbilt Commodores travel to Tuscaloosa for a battle with Ty Simpson and the number 10 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. ESPN's College Game Day on campus, and kickoff is set for 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC. For all your foundation repair and waterproof needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Into the fourth and final hour this morning. Rhett Bryan with us, filling in for Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins at the controls. I'm Will Bowling. Just like that, it is week 7 of the Tennessee high school football season. It goes by very quickly. And joining us now to break it all down, as he does every single Friday at this time, Tate Matthews, the 104.5 The Zone's high school football expert, presented by Freedom Boat Club. Tate, I was out last week. I missed previewing what was going on in the high school football weekend. Great to be back with you this morning. How are you?
Good to hear your voice, Will. What a great morning. Rhett Bryan on there with you. And yeah, I missed talking with you last week, but as always, your partner in crime, Lucas Panzica, did a fantastic job filling in with Ramon.
Always. Absolutely. Tell us about Freedom Boat Club, Tate.
Well, man, another beautiful weekend, and this weather is the way to go. And I mean, golly, for those that can't get out there on the water this weekend, I feel sorry for them because it is going to be a beautiful time to go get out on a cruise. And that's what Freedom Boat Club of Tennessee does. They make boating simple. They've got 12 top-tier locations across the state in Middle Tennessee and East Tennessee, 7 of them right here in Middle Tennessee, 2 on Old Hickory, 2 marinas on Old Hickory, 2 on Priest, 2 on Center Hill, and 1 at Timms Ford that you can go out of. And what they do is they own the boats. You just go out there and use them. They've got the top of the line Tri-Tunes. They've got the double deckers, the bow riders, the surf boats, something for everybody. And you just make the reservation online, show up, it's fully stocked, clean, ready to go, come back. They'll fill it up and bill you for the gas. It is the only way to go. It's about time to start thinking about winterizing boats and getting them put up and pulled out of the water for the year and then paying for a slip that you don't even have a boat in. Hey, man, it's real easy. All you got to go is freedomboatclubtn.com. Ask for my friends Angie, Mariah, and David. They'll get you set up. It is a no-brainer. It will not disappoint.
Love it. Good stuff. Great way to spend a bye week as well if you were a Tennessee fan with nothing to do this weekend. Tate, a big slate of high school football as always tonight. Let's start with a big matchup in Division II. Franklin Road Academy, perfect to start the season, hosting Good Pasture. Tate, Good Pasture, a resurgent program that's playing some good football, 5-1 to start the year.
Yeah, man. Well, they were 0-10 last year.
Right.
I mean, 0-10 last year. So that means 0 in the region as well. But Tyler Turner is in his second year, in his second stint as the head coach of Good Pasture. And they knew last year was going to be tough. Played a lot of young guys and starting to get ready for this year. And here they are, 5-1. Only losses to Davidson Academy, which was a region win. But they're much, much better than they were last year. Number one, they've got a quarterback and a running back and a wide receiver that can all make big plays. Chase Angel is having a great year, just under 1,000 passing yards. And 10 touchdowns for the Cougars. Caden Stroud, who has come over from Davidson Academy, is leading the way at running back with 629 yards. He's got 14 touchdowns. And then my man, he's definitely on the all-name team, but he's also a guy that you could put on offense or defense, Slim Lavelle, man. He can beat you at wide receiver and then also DB. But I think really the story is the way the offensive line has played. Coach Turner went out and hired B.J. Oliver, who's one of the best offensive line coaches in the mid-state, maybe the state. And they're not the biggest offensive line around, but they play as a unit, and they're fundamental, and they'll really get after you. So I think that's really kind of been the story for Goodpastures, how that O-line has really developed. And then FRA, as everybody knows, defeated BGA last week 21-14. If FRA can hold out and win out the rest of the region games this season, then they get home field throughout the playoffs, which everybody knows in D2 AA, that is huge. So that was a big win last week. I don't think there'll be any let down from that, but Omari Sanders and Mike Hassel, the athletes, a lot of two-way guys, right, for FRA, but Omari Sanders and Mike Hassel, two-way guys, Quadir Fletcher at running back and linebacker, and then the two quarterbacks a lot of people are now knowing about, Hudson Holman and Jack Nimitz. They kind of do it differently than Oakland does, but they're going to play two quarterbacks. Both of them do some things well that can beat you. But I think tonight what will be interesting to see is Keelan Neal, defensive lineman for FRA. He's one of the best defensive linemen in the mid-state, and he's a disruptor. So can Goodpasture handle Keelan Neal and then the linebackers behind him? And also, don't forget, FRA's return game is about as good as anybody's out there. So probably don't want to kick them the ball.
Tate Matthews, this game that I'm about to bring up is rivaled only in attendance by the state fair that also is held in this county. But the Battle of Wilson County is on tonight. Wilson Central visits the undefeated Lebanon Blue Devils. What's that one look like?
Well, nothing tops the it's actually the Tennessee State Fair at the Wilson County State Fair now, right?
Yeah.
And nothing rivals that. No way you're going to get a better attendance than that. But yeah, man, what's great about this game is it's relevant again, right? Coach Kuhn has got Wilson Central back to having a chance or going probably to have their first winning season in about 4 or 5 years. And now Lebanon's sitting here, I think probably the surprise unbeaten team right now in the mid-state, but it's a Region 4 6A battle. Wilson Central's 5-1, 0-1 in the region. Lebanon's 6-0, 1-0 in the region. And Lebanon has been lights out on defense. They've got 2 shutouts in their 6 wins, 2 games where they held their opponents to just 3 points. And there's a guy named John Binion that I love. He just seems to always be around the football. He's got interceptions, one of them a game-sealing interception 2 weeks ago and in the last 2 weeks, but just a guy that has a knack for the football. And then offensively, they've kind of got their big 3 as well. Austin Harrison is a two-way. Seems like everybody's a two-way quarterback nowadays, but he's a guy that can beat you in the air, but also with his feet. And he's played a lot of games and does a really good job of managing the game. Not a whole lot of balls on the ground for them. Jadon Stafford is a very explosive running back for Coach Gentry and Gavin Gregory at wide receiver. So Coach Gentry's doing a great job. They're unbeaten right now. On the Wilson Central side, Chaz Martin, that's the story. 1,157 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. And Coach Kuhn, he's an ex-offensive lineman, so you know how they are. He's not afraid to give Chaz the ball 30-plus times a game. He's already done it twice this year. One game, 38, I believe, against White County, 38 times in a game. If he has to do that tonight, that's what he'll do. And then Topher Allen's another guy to watch out for on Wilson Central. He's a nice two-way player at wide receiver, DB. He has touchdowns on the year, throwing it, rushing, and receiving. So going to be a fun night tonight at Lebanon, BDP.
Let's go down south as Tullahoma travels to Fayetteville to take on Lincoln County.
Love this game. Lincoln County suffered their first loss of the season last week, to Giles County, and they were 5-0 going into that. And I mean, Fayetteville's on fire. The excitement is back in Lincoln County and the pit. But tough loss last week to Giles County. Had huge wins week 1 and week 2 over Marshall County and Indy. And they finished the season out with 4 region games, so they still got a chance to run the region. in 4 or 5A, and they're still leading the way. But Carson Carter's kind of their guy on both sides of the ball. He's their leading rusher on offense, and he's one of, if not the leading rusher tackler on defense. And so we got a really good quarterback too, a dual threat guy in Maddox Franklin. He's almost got 1,000 yards passing on the year and 5 touchdowns. But the guy I'd watch out for in the Falcons uniform is Trayshawn Jean. He's an athlete that can score from all over the field. He's got him rushing, receiving, and returning. Big play guy. Look for him to try to, maybe change momentum tonight. And then on Tullahoma, my other all-name guy, Marv Vancy Johnson. He is the man. 100 carries, 717 yards, and 12 touchdowns. He's one of the really exciting running backs to watch. And then the Bobo brothers, not to be confused with the Bobos at Shelbyville. They are cousins, but Alex and Sam Bobo are guys that can affect the game. Sam's already got 5 interceptions on the night. So, and then Will Hyden off the edge, 31 tackles. I love this stat line, guys. 31 tackles, 8 tackles for a loss, 5 sacks, 18 pressures, 2 block kicks. And a lot of those games, he didn't play the whole game. So Lincoln County hosting Tullahoma, I think is the game down south.
And then Tate, on the way out, CPA at 1-5 this year. They might as well have just played like the AFC West schedule, because they have played everyone who will get on a football field with them from 3 different states, including this one. They lose a tough one in overtime last week in Ravenwood. Now they go to NBA. Tate, this is the first time these 2 teams have played as region opponents, as NBA is coming off of a tough loss last weekend to nationally ranked Baylor, who came to town.
Correct. And then CPA had them 2 weeks ago. So
yes.
Common opponent. NBA lost 18-45. CPA lost 7-48. And there's so many storylines anytime CPA plays NBA because Coach Martin went to NBA. First game as a region opponent, but also the first game that Coach Uverard is not there. And Will, I got to take time. Coach Marty Uverard, our good friend, he's listening on the app.
Nice.
In Rogersville, Tennessee, off Bear Hollow Road. So,
love that.
We got to tell Coach Uverard that we love him and we miss him. But yeah, these records really don't mean anything. It's a region game. But it's going to be fun tonight. Coach Chauvin kind of changed up the offense a little bit last week and against Baylor and started playing 2 quarterbacks. Hugh Price has been the starter, but Charlie Verner, who was the starter last year when Hugh was hurt and kind of more of a runner, gives him a little bit different dynamic. So I would look to see both of those guys play quarterback tonight, and then CPA 1-5, but it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Look at who those losses are to. CPA kind of seems not quite sure what they are offensively. Are we? There's times when the passing game's clicking and then the running game's not, and then vice versa. So I think Coach Martin wants to see a complete offensive football game from his team tonight.
Love it. Good stuff. That is week 7 here already of the Tennessee high school football season. Tate Matthews joins us every Friday at 9 to preview it. You can also get him, of course, tomorrow morning. High School Sports Saturday to kick off your weekend. We're looking forward to it, Tate. Thank you, sir.
Have a great weekend, fellas. Good to talk to you, Rhett.
Good to talk to you too, Tate.
Love it. Tate Matthews with us this morning, previewing the high school football slate. 2 of the as good a programs as it gets, CPA and NBA. And glad that's a region game. And CPA moving up to D2 AAA should be fun. And Coach Uverard, man, one of the best. One of my favorite coaches to talk to, and one of the all-time greats in Middle and East Tennessee in the legacy he had, including at your alma mater at Big O.
Indeed.
At Oakland. That's right.
Marty's been around.
That's right. Coming up, we go from talking about Nashville high school football and one Nashville icon to another. Ron Slade joins us coming up next. Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee at 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster out this morning. Rhett Bryan in. Justin Hawkins, Will Bowling, Ron Slay, we think's joining us. I honestly don't know. He's not answering.
Okay if he doesn't.
Yeah, it's all right.
We would like for him to.
We'll survive.
But
we'd survive better if he was here.
We would.
Maybe he's coming in person. We don't know.
Hey.
He's not read my text yet. I guess the green text bubbles have read receipts now, too. You can tell people have read your text, even if it's an Android.
Oh, yeah, the new Android update.
It's a new thing.
Okay.
Lovely.
I need some rehab updates for his knee.
He said yesterday on 3HL, he said he's been given the go-ahead to do what he wants to do. Said, I think he's still doing a little bit of rehab stuff, but they're like, you're good.
Okay.
Go live your life. I know. Kind of crazy.
Man, that's a quick path back. Because you think about it, he had that right before his induction into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And that was right there, end of July.
What I'm hearing is if Slay is out there and is able now to do what he wants to do and he's not picking up, maybe he just doesn't want to do this show. That would be really sad.
Maybe everywhere he goes, now that he's back on two good wheels.
I think we have him.
Yeah, there he
has
is.
no roof.
That's right. Ron Slay calling us now. Hey, I know he was in the F&M Bank chat earlier. He likes to peruse and loiter there a little bit. That's all always good things. As Justin will get him on and get him to us. America's Television's 3HL's Nashville's Ron Slay joins us. What's up? How are you?
Nah, that is so many titles, Willie. I'm cool, man. what y'all got shaking this morning? What's up, Red Gordy home?
Hey, baby boy, you got your morning voice on. You're like, hey, he's like, I'm like, is this Ron Slay or is this Barry White?
Hey, man, this
my darling, hi.
Changing enough, young little baby.
See, there it is.
Yeah, man, this is my first day, man, being able to ever sleep in since I had my knee surgery. So I didn't have therapy this morning, man. So, the snooze got hit a couple of times once LeBron got off to school and shoot. I'm shaking it off now. I'm ready to roll, baby.
Well, that's good. Glad to shake it off with you.
That's a good progress report.
I want to start, Slay, with Vanderbilt. Vandy at Alabama tomorrow. What is your feeling on this matchup? We've talked about it and broken it down in terms of, obviously, Alabama, 10.5 points. I know Todd Furman's been on y'all's show saying that line's been around 2 touchdowns for a while. It's kind of moved down this week. What's your feeling on the way this goes tomorrow in Tuscaloosa?
Man, I've gone back and forth with it. One, for the simple fact, I just can't bet against Diego Pavia. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's regardless. I don't care if he's home, if he's away. Just for the simple fact, I'm a fan of anybody that's going to talk trash confidently and go and back it up. And that's the thing. The thing that scared me about Vanderbilt this season going into it was him, the way he was talking, and with everybody else follow. That was my jury was out on that. And to this point, not only have they followed, but they stood beside them. Maybe not verbally, but physically, they've been right there with them and right there behind them on every journey and fighting with them. So I think that goes a long, long way when everybody's on the same page and everybody still feels that same chip on the shoulder that they have. Now, on the flip side of that, the way Ty Simpson has spoken out about this game gave a little pushback to me to make me think that Alabama can go and be who they're supposed to be when they play Vanderbilt, especially with it being in Tuscaloosa. Like him coming out and saying, yeah, I didn't play in that game last year, but I was a part of that team, and we got them coming home. We know exactly what they did last year. Now, what are we going to do about it? That's speaking volumes to me. So one thing I do know, I feel, it won't be a situation where the boy outcoaches Clark Lee. I think when it comes to preparation, Clark is one of the best. I think we've seen the boy do it on each stage, but the way Clark Lee goes about it, man, having everybody be able to block out the noise outside and kind of focus on whatever game is at hand is led them in the right direction to this point. It's different going down there, man. This will be, to me, a full year to where they're supposed to be as far as this revenge tour. Like, you handle the business coming out the gate. You went to Virginia Tech. You know, no scoff at that. You went to South Carolina, a top 25 ranked team. You handled business the way you were supposed to. But now the regular season really, really starts, especially when you get in the SEC play, when you talk about guys hunting for you. Yes, you hunting too, but me, if I was an Alabama player, if I could get my hands on Diego Pavia one time, it's going to be a hit, man, that's going to echo through eternity. I can promise him that. But on the other side, you got to think, man, they went out in the transfer portal and got guys to protect them. That was the biggest thing going down the stretch. How healthy can he be? So it's going to be mano a mano. I took Vandy in the points, man. I can't bet against them, but I do think Alabama is out to prove something, man. And the way everybody is talking about him, I haven't watched Ty Simpson with a close, keen eye like everybody, the talking heads have, saying he's been playing the best in college football. I heard Coach Sale say it the other day. So I'll take their word for it, but I still got to see it done, man, because one team that has the most pressure on them is Alabama. It's not Vanderbilt at all.
Always. I mean, and every time they take the field, too, you're totally right. Yeah. I think the interesting thing, Slay, just from the athlete's perspective, like, how much does level of focus and respect for an opponent really make a difference? Because clearly last year, and that's been a trend for Alabama teams under Kalen DeBoer, they don't bring that same level of attention to detail and same level of discipline week in and week out, but they'll bring it to a big game. Well, it feels like from what they're saying, they got to go do it, but from what they're saying, they're treating this like one of the big games, like they treat an LSU, who they just stomped in Baton Rouge last year, and treating it like they treat, Tennessee, maybe is not the best example because they lost that, but Georgia, right? Like, how much for you, when you go back into your career in college and at the pro level as well, does just respect and attention to detail for an opponent really make a difference? Because it feels to me, Slay, like Vandy is getting Alabama's best shot this time around, where that was not the case last year.
Yeah, I think that's huge, Will. When you walk into it, man, you got to understand exactly who the opponent is and what level they're going to make you play at. You know what I mean? Having the respect for the opponent makes you play at a heightened level that, once you get into the season, you're in a routine. You can go out there and literally, like some people say, sleepwalk through the game. You can sleepwalk through the game and make it through and play an average game for yourself individually. But if everybody does that, that's what throws everything off kilter. But when you go out there and you respect the opponent and you know that they can beat you, this is not going to be a pushover, you attack the game totally different. I think one of the things, too, that we forget with Alabama is, man, when they walked into that game against Vanderbilt last year, they were searching for an identity, too. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know who they were. We didn't know who they were. You know what I mean? There was a new coach. He changed things up that we saw with bringing people in to speak to the team. Like, the cameras are around more. Like, they were searching for an identity just to see who they are. We knew who they were with Nick Saban. You know what I'm saying? They were going to go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. I don't care if they were playing Belmont, who don't even have a football team. Belmont put a 7-on-7 team out there together. Man, Nick Saban was going to have them ready.
They're undefeated.
So, yeah, they undefeated. They were going to treat them as such.
Absolutely.
So I think this year, going into this offseason for Alabama, it was much easier to try to establish what their identity was. So walking into this game is a bit different because when things go haywire, you can always lean back on who are you? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's why you see guys take timeouts. They come to the huddle or you go to halftime. You hear people in there saying, hey, man, who are we, dog? Like, we got to be this. We are this. We are this. We are that. You know what I'm saying? And you lean on that. So you always looking to prove, if not by the score, but prove yourself, regardless if you losing by 30 or winning by 30. You can always stand on, hey, man, this is who we are. Regardless of whatever the score is, we ain't even playing the scoreboard. We playing for our pride. We playing to be tougher. We playing to be more physical. You know what I'm saying? All of those things that you can lean on. And I think after that Florida State game, that was a smack in the face to them, the way they responded. Like, all right, man, this is not who we are. Mm-hmm. Who are we? You know what I mean? So it looks like they're going out to prove it. And what better game was it to go and prove who your identity was against a Georgia team that you know what Kirby is? So you more physical? No, we're going to come into your home. We're going to beat you up the same way that you want to beat everybody else up, and we're going to show you who we are. So now you let that bleed over into this Vanderbilt game, and then they're not searching. Like, think about last year, how much disarray they were in as far as defensive guys throwing their helmets and, you know what I mean, arguing with the coaches. We haven't seen that this year. And we've seen them have a get handled versus Florida State, but it still wasn't chaotic. It was just Florida State was just moving up everywhere they wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a little bit different as far as what they can lean on this year, more so than them being caught off guard by Vanderbilt. I think it is more about who they are.
Ron Slade, let's pause that conversation because that is an interesting game tomorrow, has huge implications. But let's get back to some Vol talk for just a minute. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
I know we can. Just wanted to get your thoughts. The Vols have started out 4-1 in this thing, and just what your thoughts have been along the way, because the huge stories out of this is Joey Aguilar doesn't join this team till later on, and he emerges out of the spring game and all these things. And look at where that is. Chris Brazel from Tulane, the other part of it. What are your thoughts about where this has gone so far?
I really love where it's gone so far, Red. And I'll say this more than anything. I'm more impressed with what Heupel has been able to do in his coaching staff, with it being losing guys here and there, losing Eckler. He lost. You see what my guy's doing down at South Florida. When we lost you see what Golish is doing. Like, he's lost guys, but you've been able to kind of retain talent. So what I'm impressed by with this bunch is guys being down and they don't stop to train. So you had to go and realign your offensive line with a new quarterback that is getting he's implementing a system that he has no idea about within, 2-3 months? So you got a new guy there. You got a new running back room, in a sense. Bishop, I know these guys have real experience. Peyton Lewis a little bit, but you got new spots right there. You have to shift your offensive line. You lose your anchor, Mays, to the league, and you're still able to go out there and execute. You have a lot of questions around the wide receivers who had a year of experience, Brazel finally being who he is. So I'm more impressed by the depth that you were able to retain and the experience you were able to get from these guys and get them to lock in. And then you flip to the defensive side, Red, and it's about the same thing. We knew what that bunch was last year, but we never, ever expected two all-SEC corners, one being an All-American consensus, to go down before the season really cranked up and you get into the thick of it. And you start to get a guy like Ty Redmond, a freshman, to get out there and take his lumps. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be in the SEC, but you also get a guy like Colton Hood emerging. Like, that is huge to me. Joseph's and the unity that they got on that defensive line by Rodney Garner, that depth, the depth at each position is amazing to me. I think that's the biggest salute that I have so far, to be able to not miss a beat and be missing all SEC performers is huge. So when you go to that, man, now moving ahead a little bit, where they are, being explosive, what is it, 30-plus points in 5 straight games?
Yep.
Like, that's impressive, because that's what we grew to love. That's what had everybody buzzing. Yeah, we love the defense, and we know it's a running style offense that sets up the pass. But, man, we like big explosive plays. Everybody likes the long ball, go their own, you know what I mean, to take it from baseball. We like to see the long ball. We ain't seen the long ball in 2-3 years. You know, with Joe Milton, with Nico, it's like, oh, okay, well, let's settle back down into our seats, man, and just, watch us grind out a game. No, we want to be standing up. We want to see the fireworks going. We want to see the 50-50 balls, and he's giving them opportunities with Browser, Mike Matthews, and Staley that we haven't been able to see. And that's coming from the experience of a veteran quarterback who was kind of just, over there in the lost and found, in a sense. You know what I mean? You went back to school and found something that was like, okay, let me dust this old jacket off and see what it's about. And Joey turns out to be one of the good ones. And it just shows how easy it is to acclimate to his system if you're willing to be efficient and take care of the ball and put the ball where it's supposed to be and not try to do too much. I don't think Joey's doing too much. I think that's the biggest thing. He's taking what they're giving him. He's got a little mix of Hendon Hooker because of his legs. The arm is not as powerful, but, man, the chances that he takes, it's literally guys down there that are 6'3", and up, and you giving them an opportunity to go over smaller corners. You can't ask for more.
Slate, quickly on the way out, I know you've got a lot of reps everywhere. You got reps all over the place, but you've got reps that are around Tennessee basketball a month out from the season beginning. A perfect time in the bye week to check up on those guys. What are the nuggets? Ethan Borg, I know, is getting in the mix. Nate Ament, you hear rave reviews about it. How confident is this staff and the team that they've assembled up there in Knoxville?
Hey, man, this team right here, you know what you're going to get. We talk about identity.
Yeah.
The physicality aspect, you're going to get it. And now I was waiting to hear that, and I heard that this week. Missing a guy like Zakai Ziegler, missing a guy like Jamar Mashack, you knew exactly as far as identity what you could always lean back on. You may not make shots, but physicality was going to be brought to every game. Defensive mentality was going to be brought to every game, and I think they finally grasped in that. The other thing is, man, I've been saying it for a long time, and we had one. Point guards win tournaments. No ifs, ands, or buts. I believe, from what I'm hearing, I got to lay my eyes on it too now, but what I'm hearing, we got one of the best point guards in the nation. And it's not even a question. I asked, like, who do you compare him to? And he said, man, I'm going to be honest, and I hate to throw this out there, but Walter Clayton Jr. We saw exactly what Walter Clayton Jr. did last year, and it supposedly has deeper range than Walter Clayton Jr. And Jacoby Gillespie. So saying this, yeah, that's humongous. The poise that we saw him play with. And we got to understand, like, Jacoby's been through the ringer.
Yes, he has.
Started at Belmont, you know what I mean? I think which a lot of people forget because the run that they went on in Maryland, and he's played with pros, you know, and been able to groom them and still be a part of the team, not try to outshine the team. And now you walk into the situation where you're able to be a leader and try to carry this bunch on your back. It's going to be interesting to see how he brings everybody else along, but easily, regardless of who's on the floor with him, one of the bruiser guys, Nate Ament, easily, he's going to be, majority of the time, the best offensive player on the floor of any game, but by an opponent or anything. So that's huge. That's huge, man, because there's so many times that plays break down, and we always say, God, man, Zakai was so small to get a shot off. You know what I'm saying? Mashack just wasn't that polished offensively. You know, you had other guys that you could go through. Dalton Connect was what made them be able to carry it. Chaz couldn't really, create his own shot a lot of the times by himself. But Jacoby, they say, man, there's no way nobody's standing him one-on-one. So when the play breaks down, they give him the ball up top, get the hell out the way. That's the play. Get the hell out the way, let this man go to work, and he'll carry you to the promised land. So it's going to be big for him, man. The guys getting healthy down low in the front court, I think that's going to be a big part. We haven't had 4 guys rotating the front court like this ever. So that'll be a big part. We've always had 3, even dating back to Kyle Alexander, Grant Williams, move Schofield down, but Fulkerson. But you got 4 guys that can legitimately play and start any day.
It's exciting. We'll be here before we know it. Basketball season right around the corner. Ron Slay.
Your wheels are back to normal just in time.
Yeah, how you moving?
It's perfect, Gordon. Hey, man, Dr. Rob, shout out to Dr. Rob, man, he got me together. I'm still going to go to therapy for about 2 or 3 more weeks, you know what I mean? But I'm pretty much ready to push. He said, I can do any activity. He said, is it anything you're doing right now that you is it anything you're not doing that you want to do? I said, man, I wouldn't mind getting in the gym and then just take some shots. Not play, but just take some shots. He said, well, what you waiting on? I said, I don't need to hear no more. That's perfect. That's a green light. That's a green light for me.
Yes, sir. Ron Slay, Fridays at 9:20, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 on 3HL. Thank you, Slay. Good to talk to you.
All right, fellas. All right, Gordy.
Yeah.
Later. All right, there's Ron Slay with us here this morning as we wrap up the show. A quick one this morning. We get out of here coming up next. Ramona Will at 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up the show. The Buck Rising Show is coming up next. Blaine and Zach, cover 2 at 1, 2, 3. And, of course, 3HL wraps up your Friday. Rhett and I are off to Phoenix tomorrow. Titans and Cardinals on Sunday. From, again, as we keep saying, the house that Coach Mack built. Excited to see it for the first time.
I'm telling you, you think NRG Stadium's big? This place is monstrous.
Nice. Is it roof open typically, or is it typically roof closed?
I wouldn't think so, because hell, it's going to be, I don't know, like 95 degrees.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
There or something.
Lovely. Fantastic.
I mean, think about it. If it's 85 here.
Yeah, fair.
But
let's see.
God, I hope not. I don't want that.
Phoenix, Arizona.
I want roof closed in 68.
Oh, it's there's a cool blast of air coming into Phoenix.
Okay, and it getting down to a balmy what?
88.
Okay, there
Sunday.
it is.
The low is actually 62, which is nice. So it'll be nice in the morning. Yeah. But the high today in Phoenix, Arizona is 99 degrees.
And there it is.
That is
Jarrell Casey in Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow. Okay. Well, anyway. That is what's going on this weekend. So looking forward to that. I'm excited to watch Alabama Vandy. I know we're going to be in the air as a lot of it is happening, and we may be Jim Wyatt's human stress balls that are around of just trying to relieve some of the pressure. And I know I would be a wreck if I was in the air and Tennessee was playing Alabama and without being able to watch it. But it's going to be a fun game. I think everything's on the table in that game where it's one of those. Every now and then, Rhett, you get one of those games where no result would really surprise you, other than probably a Vandy blowout win. I think everything else is kind of on the table in that game.
Yeah.
So besides Kentucky and Alabama in there, it's still a tough.
Let me say this:
schedule.
Texas better start playing some better football.
Texas and Florida tomorrow is a game I have no read on, other than the fact that it's going to be boring and low scoring. That's the only thing I'm confident in.
You're a poet and didn't know it.
It's exactly
boring
right.
and low scoring.
Those offenses are going to click at some point. Like Arch Manning can't look this bad forever. DJ Lagway can't look this bad forever. Those are still very, very, very talented quarterbacks. Yep. I mean, obviously the situation in Gainesville is much worse than it is in Austin, but I heard Josh Pate say on his show Tuesday, like, imagine if you switched those teams' schedules. I'm not convinced that Texas wouldn't have a similar record to Florida if you gave them the same schedule that Florida has played so far. I mean, the USF win, sure. But, like, if you gave those teams the other side's schedule and Florida goes to Ohio State and loses and then gets UTEP, Sam Houston State, and I think it was UL Monroe, they'd probably be 3-1, and we'd be like, all right, well, they lost to Ohio State. What else we got? Like, we have so many questions about Texas at this point of the season because they've only played one legitimate opponent.
But what would that loss against Ohio State be? I think instead of losing 14-7, it'd probably be a little bit greater.
Yeah, it's true. So we'll see. Should be a fun football weekend. A reminder is no such thing as a boring weekend of football. Bad weekends of football are better than good weekends of most other sport. Maybe every other sport.
How about a weekend with no football?
That's also true.
Which is what Tennessee Volunteers fans are going through this weekend, but there's other things to watch, as you have just mentioned.
No doubt. Rhett, thank you. Appreciate it. Fun past couple days.
Glad to do it. Let's go to Phoenix. Let's see if we can get something in the win column.
Let's do it. We're off. Buck Rising Show next to 104.5 The Zone.